am here for modding.
Hello, hello. How's it going, everyone? Welcome.
Hello.
How's it going, everyone? Welcome to the Saturday stream. Good evening.
I am the only mod here.
Well, that's good. At least one of you is here. Hope you're having a good evening, morning, noon, night, whenever it is, depending on your time zones. Welcome to the stream. Hello.
Night for me.
Yeah, well, it's getting close for me. The sun is going down, but yeah. Alright. Where's the seal man at? Hang on. Alright. Oof. Well, I've been in the process of trying to fix my bed. So my room is a mess because I had to throw everything off my bed. But that's fine. I have to change the sheets anyways. Anyway. Oh good, I think Seal is coming.
Hello.
Hey, there he is. There he is. Alright, let's move you over here. And get to the video.
It's good to be back.
Glad to have you back. There we go.
I am standby for the message. What make Goth call for the mods?
Good. Stand by. Alrighty. Let's go ahead and jump into this. We are going to continue from last Saturday. The Wild World of Resident Evil Clones. Yeah, we're going to finish that video. So here we go.
We have taken Lord Sudoga's head!
Damn, right through the throat.
Well, it's been long enough. I'd say it's about time to pull out one of the heavy hitters in this list. Onimusha is pretty unique in its capacity as an RE clone, as it's the only one actually made by Capcom, the one and only company credited with both creating and naming the genre of survival horror. And I've got good news for you. If you were expecting a higher level of quality, given Capcom should probably know how to clone their own creation, well, you're absolutely correct. This is a flat-out incredible series with entries that, like Resident Evil, all differ from one another in small ways, but unlike RE, stay true to the foundational elements that made the first game so damn compelling. And before we get too deep into this, I may or may not be planning to do a full series retrospective on Onimusha at some point in the future, so I won't be going terribly in-depth with this segment. And further to the point, yes, Blade Warriors and Onimusha Tactics are very much a part of the series, but since the focus in this video is on RE clones, don't expect to see them covered here. Don't worry though, you'll be seeing them soon enough, I promise. Okay, getting back to the real point of all this, Onimusha's first entry, Onimusha Warlords, was sort of kind of created back in the late 90s when a Capcom dev came up with the working idea of Sengoku Biohazard. And you know, it's one of those ideas you hear and you think to yourself, how the hell is it that no one thought of this sooner? The idea was to take RE's recognizable gameplay and transplant it into an ancient Japanese setting, something I had no idea I needed until I found out it existed. The project in its infancy eventually grew a little too big for the aging PS1 and was moved over to the upcoming PS2, and just 4 years after it was a mere idea in some developer's head, we got Onimusha Warlords, and I will tell you right now from personal experience, it was amazing. This game really does perfectly represent its RE origins. It pulls off the amazing feat of simultaneously being perfectly recognizable in its survival horror roots, and unique enough that it never really feels like a clone. The story sees your main character Samanosuke Akechi as he travels to Inabayama Castle to make sure his cousin Yuki is alright. He doesn't do a great job of it though.
Where is the man who calls Goth Buddy?
So the ancient Oni clan pays him a little visit and gives him the power he needs to defeat the demons that have infested the castle. A pretty cool setup that serves two very important purposes. First, it gives us a perfectly understandable reason for the game's events to take place, but more important than that, it feels like something you would actually hear about in a Japanese folktale. And in that sense, it gets two big thumbs up from me. Onimusha's unique gameplay is probably going to be the most familiar and unfamiliar part of the game for you, and I say that because tank controls and exploration will definitely give you RE flashbacks the entire time, but little tweaks make sure it stays feeling like its own thing. For example, sure, you'll be using tank controls to get around the whole time, but when it's time to throw down, you'll be using melee attacks almost exclusively. To account for this, the game gives you all kinds of mobility options like a lock-on and a dash, but most interestingly, it does something really cool by combining survival horror and Metroidvania. See, in your average survival horror game, exploration is the main goal, and key items can be picked up to further open up the environment. But Onimusha takes that one step further. That means that a majority of the progress you'll be making will come in the form of gaining new moves or weapons. In a Metroid title, or I guess more specifically any Metroidvania game, it's common for the environment to reveal itself a little more every time a new mobility or combat option is gained, and the same thing applies here. All over the place, there are doors that can only be opened by a specific weapon, and sometimes that require a specific level for that weapon to be at. And speaking of which, there's also a system that lets you spend souls you collect after killing enemies on leveling up your weapons and gear. I really like this little inclusion because it makes running around and figuring out where to go next feel like it's serving a secondary purpose by allowing me to engage in combat more, thereby collecting resources that'll make the game just a little more forgiving and a whole lot more fun. This first entry in this landmark series was incredibly memorable for me and will likely always occupy a small spot in my heart, but there are a few more titles we need to go over.
What's that smell? Who's there? A human?
Hello, buddy goth.
The second Onimusha title capitalized on a lot of the previous entry's strengths, but added a lot that, if you ask me, goes a little outside what Onimusha was all about at the time. In the game, you take control of Jubei Yagyu, a guy looking to get revenge on Nobunaga for wiping his town out. On the way, he ends up crossing paths with other elite fighters, and the crew forms this on-again, off-again relationship where Jubei is constantly expected to shower them with gifts. The gifts can be found during the course of actually just playing the game or bought in a shop. Like you might expect, some characters have preferences, and giving the right kind of gift to the right kind of person will lock them in as a more permanent member of your troop. While on the expectable flip side, continually giving the wrong type of gifts to someone might see some of these guys leaving or betraying you at some point. This main town acts as a staging point for a lot of your adventures, so you'll be coming back a lot to stock up or give trinkets to your friends. If you ask me, there is a lot about this game that just doesn't fit the Onimusha feel, at least in my opinion, but I cannot deny how fun the combat and gameplay is. I might be crazy here, but this game seems to control a little better than the last one, and fights flow just a little faster and more fluidly. So while it's not my favorite in the series, it's still an amazing game. But you might be asking yourself, what is my favorite? Well...
Magoichi! Where did you take my girl? How dare you disturb our time? Together!
For me, Onimusha 3 is when the series peaked. Not only did you have Takeshi Kaneshiro reprising his role as Samanosuke, but they upped the ante by adding Jean Renault to the game's cast. And
That's the only one that I didn't play it myself, but my cousin played it and I watched him play it. But yeah, we only got that one because Takeshi Kaneshiro and Jean Renault were in it.
actor that most people associate with his role in Leon the Professional, while incorrectly leaving out his awesome performance in the best Godzilla movie ever made.
Oh my God.
I'll let you guys decide if that's sarcasm or not. The story
I hope
sees
it's
Samanosuke
sarcasm.
being
Hopefully
teleported to
one
modern-day
day they'll
Paris while
remake
Jean
it.
Renault's
Looks
character
pretty
gets sent
good.
back to the Sengoku era. Despite the fact that they spend most of the time apart, it takes on this sort of buddy cop feel, and I absolutely love it. The gameplay returns to that classic RE
love
clone
Takeshi
style and ditched the
Kaneshiro. He's
gift-giving
one
and
of my favorite
Hubtown
Asian
mechanic from the
actors.
previous game, which was a good call if you ask me. These aren't bad elements
This
on their
brother
face or
is
anything, I
walking
just
on
didn't think they
thin
felt
ice.
right in an Onimusha game. The combat in
He's
3 feels a little
kidding.
slower than it did in the second game, or maybe that's just
Thin
me, but you
asterisk.
have way more offensive options now with Jacques' new whip and his readiness to bust a cap when necessary. The story
3
has
so
this
am I.
double fish out of water kind of approach, and I'm not sure why, it just works for me on every level. Plus, this might be one of the best looking games on the PS2. I mean, look at it, it's absolutely gorgeous. Without a doubt, this is the best entry in the series if you're looking for an RE clone, but it definitely isn't the last. I won't talk about Onimusha 4 Dawn of Dreams too much here, and that's not because it's bad, but because it's just not an RE clone. The camera's now locked behind the main character, and that means all the backgrounds are fully
Now
rendered
it's
in
more
3D
like Dynasty
now. Of course, that
Warriors.
doesn't necessarily mean it negates any type of a survival horror bend to a game, but it seems clear action was the goal here. Its events proceed along a more linear, level-based sort of route, and combat is the main attraction with combo multipliers and the score/ranking system coming into play. If I had to describe it, I'd say this is what happens when Capcom's arcade roots start to show in a series. By no means would I say Onimusha 4 is bad, it's just not what I was looking for.
Did you
That
see
being
it
said,
go?
to get this footage, I had to play this game a lot more than I ever have before,
what?
and I think I'll be picking it back up when I'm done. And now that I think about it, it seems like this series acts as a sort of microcosm of Capcom's RE approach, but only taking place across 4 main titles. You can see Capcom's trademark unwillingness to hold on to tradition and their constant obsession with tinkering with core mechanics. All in all, though, it's still one of the most fun, varied, and true to Resident Evil series you're likely to come across. If you're watching this and have never
The
played
new
one of these
trailer
games,
for
I
the
suggest you
amazing
stop what you're
Digital
doing and
Circus
track them
Episode
down.
6.
All of these games are
Oh, no, I
amazing in
didn't
their
see
own
it.
right, and if you're looking for a little bit of a deeper dive, well, let me know in the comment section if you'd be interested in an Onimusha retrospective, because I can promise you that is one request I'd be more than happy to grant.
Get back. You're not gonna be of any help anyway. Vergenma.
React
No
to
human
it
blade
on
can
stream.
Oh,
Oh, you
is
want me
that-
to go? Look at it. Okay.
Nobody's seen him since last night. I'm really starting to get worried.
I know. Aliens beamed him up to their ship, did some experiments on him, and finally killed him.
You know, the best part about covering a series like Obscure is that the name could also describe its popularity. I really don't remember anyone being particularly wowed by this RE clone when it was released, which sort of blew me away because at the time we really didn't have many survival horror style games to choose from, if any at all. Then Obscure showed up at my local Blockbuster, and as a PS2 owner who loved RE, it was a done deal the second I saw the screenshots. What we have here is essentially what would happen if RE2 bred with the late 90s horror movie The Faculty.
Guaranteed to jack you up.
It takes place in a relatively
The Faculty
contemporary
is a
high
good
school and
movie,
involves a
too.
group who stay after the last bell in order to find their friend, but end up getting involved in a secret experiment set up by the principal, who may or may not be a few hundred years old. The biggest
I really
upset
loved
Obscure
that
delivers
one.
to the established RE norm would be the ability to switch partners. I mean, sure, RE0 did come out 2 years earlier, but since that's the last time we saw that mechanic, we'll give Obscure points for trying. Your entire crew is available from the start, and not only does that mean you can decide who you'll play as, but also who gets to come with you. And if one of your buds get murked, well, it doesn't necessarily mean an automatic game over. I believe the game can still be beaten as long as there is one single character left alive, but to be honest, I always just reset when someone dies anyways. And I'm able to do that because Obscure is kind enough to allow me to save literally anywhere. You save your game with these CD items, and as long as you have one in your inventory, you're good to go. This little attempt at aping RE's success ditches the tank controls and goes for that 3D style where up could literally be any direction depending on the camera angle. But this game makes this style work really well in my opinion. I think it has to do with the environments being mostly wide open, which allows for a little course correction, but for whatever reason, this was the most fun to control game on the list so far. The camera follows you on a set track, which makes for a great cinematic feel and matches the horror movie this game might as well have been based on. The combat is very, I guess, clunky, but works most of the time, and I like the added ability to knock out windows to damage your enemies who just so happen to be hurt by sunlight.
Who doesn't
The voice
wanna
acting
fight
is,
giant
well,
mutant
I don't know, I
rat
guess
shrimps?
just about as bad as you might assume.
Don't tell me you didn't see anything. You didn't notice anything bizarre?
Yeah, everything I see up in this piece is whack.
But the story has a very endearing feel to it. Plus, it does a great job of creating a believable atmosphere. Anyone who went to a public high school probably sees a little bit of their own alma mater in this place, and I absolutely love it when developers create this specific genre of games in a believably current, more normal setting like this. Oh, and I forgot to mention, there's multiplayer, although, if I'm being honest, I have actually never tried it out myself. We're looking at the Steam version of the game here, a version that I am very happy to say has no issues installing on Windows 10 and supports both modern resolutions and controllers. So if you're a little worried about heading so far back into the gaming timeline, maybe a nice high-res image will help ease you in a bit. Although it did famously remove the Sum 41 song that normally plays during the intro, I guess it's up to you whether or not that's a plus or a minus. If you ask me, Obscure is well worth checking out today and might be one of the most faithful and fun RE clones we've covered so far, which makes me wish I could say the same for the sequel.
Walking around on your bare feet in here means you'll be picking mushrooms from between your toes.
Obscure Aftermath came out a good 4 or
Good
so
thing
years
that
after the
weirdo with
original
the
and hit the
coat brought
PS2,
all his
Wii,
dad's
PC, and
guns
PSP.
here.
Now, me being
He
the
must
absolute
have
dork
known.
that I am, I
Yeah,
hit up the PSP
that's
version
totally
first
why
and
he
foremost.
brought the
I
guns
recently
here,
soft-modded
to
my
fight
PlayStation TV
those
and
things.
installed an app called
Oh my
Sharpscale, which
gosh.
allows PSP games to be played at a much higher resolution than native PSP video output. So I figured this was a great time to show that off. The PSP version of the game actually looks really good, and the sharp integer scale used on my PS TV certainly helps. That being said, I can confirm this game looks great on a PSP's native screen as well.
3.
On the plus side, we still have a butt rock song over the intro, so it's nice to see some consistency there, but right off the bat, the camera and controls jump out as being far lower quality than its predecessor. First off, the environments you start in are much more closed off, often having you move around in one tiny hallway after another. And the fixed path moving camera has returned, but there's also moments when the player can move the camera around freely. The only issue there being you never really know which section is going to be a fixed camera section and which one will let you take control of your field of view, so you never really know what you can and can't do. See right here, I can fully control the camera anytime I want, but just 2 steps forward and I can't anymore. And keep in mind, this is on the same exact screen. This really sucks because the camera angles are much more close up than before, so it's not uncommon to see the camera get caught on a door or the odd corner. It looks to me like they were going for a closer to the player sort of over-the-shoulder look for a lot of it, and if you ask me, it makes the game a
They
nightmare
should do
to
a
actually
Silent
control.
Hill 1
While I
thing.
haven't put as much time into this
That
one
camera
compared to the
is
first,
handy.
I can confidently say that any fun you get out of this game will be in spite of the controls
I
and
have
not
made
because
it.
of them. Other than that, it seems like the overall gameplay hook is roughly the same here. A bunch of young adults stuck in some kind of a school-type environment, solving
That
puzzles and
monster
finding
kinda looked
keys in
like
order
an
to
insane
survive an
cancer
outbreak of a sentient
ripoff
plant creature.
from,
I really do want to
Silent
spend a
Hill
little
3.
more time with Obscure 2, if anything, because there aren't a lot of games in the genre, and at this point I'll take what I can get. But that being said, the first game gets my recommendation. It's this perfect little microcosm of RE-style gameplay with a few flourishes that come from a new team taking a crack at an established formula.
I
The
like
second
to
game
call
offers
those things
more or less
sumo
much of the same,
cancers.
but the game switches to a sometimes free, sometimes fixed camera, and that leads to huge issues controlling your characters. But on the plus side, they streamlined a lot of mechanics and genuinely improved a lot of the
crawlies.
go-to controller functions in the sequel. If you're looking to spend a Saturday night remembering that short window of time when RE clones like this had some kind of a market share, Obscure might as well be your go-to. Definitely give this series a try, and if possible, get one of the console releases so you can watch that original intro and be reminded how bad Sum 41 is.
The organs are all still there.
Hey!
There are these purple
What's wrong with
marks all
Sum
over it.
41?
This is mad.
It may save your life.
Oh, God, yeah, I've heard of that.
I think most people see Cold Fear as a kind of RE4 clone, and while
This
I can
game
see
is
where that
like
idea
Friday
comes from for sure,
13th
it's
game.
important to keep in mind that Capcom's Resident Evil upset only beat Cold Fear to market by a month, which means they wouldn't have had the
Yes,
foresight
yes,
of
yes.
knowing that RE4 was going to
Love
revolutionize
IT.
gaming as we knew it, so I think it's a safe bet that Darkwood wasn't copying much of anything. In fact, the only reason this game is on this
Hope you meant
list
to
is
say Cold
because
Fear.
to me, this feels like what I wanted RE Revelations
Cry
to
of
be.
Fear is
This
my
perfect marrying
inspiration
of RE4's aiming
for
and
my
controls with
ancient
RE1's
stories.
general game design.
Cold
and
Fear,
I think
huh?
that
Before
makes
I
a lot
met
of
you
sense,
all.
seeing as how Darkworks' previous horror
But that-
title was
yeah.
another game we'll be looking at in one of these RE clone videos,
Cold
Alone in the
Fear,
Dark,
I
The New
mean.
Nightmare.
Oh,
But
okay,
first
good.
things
Yeah.
first, we have to cover all of my nerd stuff. What I really wanted to do was have all my captured footage be of the PS2 original because, well, you know how crazy I am about upscaling old analog consoles. Plus, Cold Fear offers an anamorphic widescreen option, and it's always fun playing old video games in true-ish 16:9. But sadly, there were a few issues with that approach. First off, my FrameMeister was losing sync every single time I went through a door, and I'm not really sure why. I'm almost positive the game runs at 480i the entire time, so that was a huge bummer. But more importantly, the frame rate was just awful most of the time. All of the extra effects like water cascading over the screen and realistic ship movements combined with the huge waves crashing on the ship made the gameplay experience less than ideal. So sadly we'll be using the Steam
The
release
boss
for this
fight
playthrough.
sucked.
And to be totally honest, in its vanilla
What
form,
if
the
I
PC
sent on
release isn't
Discord?
exactly great looking either. It's stuck at 4:3, doesn't accept modern USB controllers, and scoffs at higher resolutions. On the plus side though, there are a few mods to get around this. First, there's a widescreen fix that'll let you run the game at 1080p and up, and then there's a .dll that'll allow for a modern USB controller, which is very,
that's good.
very useful and goes a long way in having a modern gamer play this game nowadays. But stuff only I care about aside, Cold Fear starts off with a Navy SEAL team infiltrating a Russian whaling ship. Sadly, these guys get torn apart nearly the first second their
trailer
feet
for
touch the deck,
episode
and in a
6
bout
of
of
Amazing
frustration, the
Digital
CIA,
Circus.
who's running this little op,
Yeah, you can
orders the
send it.
nearest
It'll make it
government
easier
vessel to
for
pick
me
up
to-
where the SEALs left off. And the aforementioned closest ship is a Coast Guard vessel led by Tom Hansen, our main character. As you explore the ship, you find the Russians were messing around with some kind of an ancient parasitic life form they call exocells.
But of course.
These little bastards like to hijack dead bodies,
Do I
making
have
the
to
enemies
put
in
in
the
the
game
main
basically
chat?
Las Plagas, but without a Spanish Napoleon stand-in. So, I guess better. Voice
There should
acting
be
in
a
Cold
video
Fear
chat.
is actually relatively okay, with most of the talent coming from Tom here.
Why should I believe you?
Because I'm here and you're not dead.
Ha, funny.
The controls are,
I'm here and
well,
you're not
they're
dead.
kind of terrible in a lot of ways. Movement is handled without tank controls, despite the camera being mostly fixed, so that means you'll find yourself having to reorient after every camera change, and that kind of sucks. Now, this isn't anything new. I mean, we've already covered a few games in this list that use this method, but Cold Fear takes it a few steps further in the wrong direction. Hitting
Yeah,
L1
you can
readies
just
your
stick it
weapon
in
and puts
memes
you in
and
an
videos.
almost over-the-shoulder type
That'll
of
work.
perspective, but like I said earlier, this game came out a mere month or two after RE4. So on the plus side, it does get a free pass in the, well, you're just copying RE4 category, but on the negative end of things, these developers didn't have a chance to see a working model of this kind of gameplay before making their own. I mean, let's be honest, I talk a lot of shit about Resident Evil 4 for ruining
In
the
the what?
formula of RE games going forward, but one thing I can criticize it for is it was a
Memes
really good
and
third-person
videos.
shooter that figured out how to do over-the-shoulder
That
better
channel.
than anyone at the time. I'm pretty sure you guys know that me personally, I prefer the Max Payne 1 and 2 approach, but hey, what are you gonna do? The industry has spoken, and RE4 is the de facto way all third-person shooters were gonna
God,
be made
seeing
after
this
its
game
release.
gets me
And what I mean to
excited
say with
both
this
ways.
long rant is there are a lot of issues here in Cold Fear. One of the worst being the over-the-shoulder view sharing a game with a fixed camera system. So in order to aim at a target, you need to rotate Tom so that he's facing what you want him to shoot at. In RE4, this is a snap because the camera is always in the same position behind Leon, but here there are two viewing perspectives, making this a real chore. And normally that wouldn't be the worst problem, but enemies in Cold Fear hit hard as hell. Even the small exocell parasites can drain a quarter of your life in a single hit, and that effect continues until you kill them or run out of their little grabby range. Now, it's my opinion that the developers knew this was an issue because they also implemented a more traditional RE type of aiming that lets you draw your weapon and aim straight ahead without altering your perspective. But this relies on the game's auto-aim, and in that case, you might as well not use it unless the enemy is so far away that it really doesn't matter anyways. Since you're able to move around while aiming in either mode, the right analog stick is used to adjust your reticle, but this process is so slow in the secondary, more
Gameplay-wise, it's
traditional
pretty
firing mode
mediocre
that
to
it boggles the
frustrating,
mind,
but I
which
love
really
the look and
sucks because
setting.
this mechanic could have very well transformed this game into a real traditional Resident Evil type experience. But here's the catch with all this. After all that complaining, I still really enjoy this game.
Just
There's a lot
put
of
in the
really cool
meme and
stuff going on
videos
here, but
playlist.
given the context of this specific video, what really impressed me was how well they did laying out a cool environment and using old RE tropes to dot the landscape with puzzles, keys, and weapons that could be incrementally discovered. In a lot of ways, they do everything right in my book. There's a cool little story that feels more like The Thing than some kind of zombie invasion, and some absolutely stunning graphics for the time. I mean, sure, there's a lot of jank to be found here, but the camera angles are cinematic as hell, and the lighting is just to die for. There's a huge amount of dynamic lighting
I
sources
mean,
to
I
be
just
found
did
here,
put
and that
the
may not
trailer
sound
in the
too
meme
crazy
and
until
video
you figure,
plays
hey,
it.
this is a console
Yeah,
game.
I see it.
Now, I would have loved to see more accurate real-time shadow casting to go along with those dynamic light sources, but you really can't look a gift horse in the mouth. But I think if you're going to have a long discussion about Cold Fear, the main point has got to be the unreal amount of time and effort that went into accurately mapping and animating both the ocean waves around the boat and the effect those waves have on the boat's position. Not only does the boat move in a really convincing way, but you'll also see Tom's position change along with it. This was a really interesting development at the time, and to be honest, you still don't see games doing anything close to this. Cold Fear definitely has some major issues, but without a doubt it is one of the more interesting and playable RE clones to date. If you ever wondered what would happen if Resident Evil Revelations was made by a team who actually revered the original RE trilogy, well, wonder no more. I don't care if it's on Steam or console or whatever, just give this one a try. It's rare for a game to stray so far from its original inspiration, yet still hit the mark so damn well.
He wanted to use them, and this is the result. It will kill us all.
Hey, you okay?
Kill me, please.
And for
I
the
make
very
a
last game to
mistake.
feature in this video, we have to hit up one of the major titles people have been asking me to cover for years now. An RE clone that's both popular and barely known about at the same
Well, fix
time.
it.
And when it comes to RE clones, Sega really does know a thing or two. For me, the first real RE clone I ever played and was fully aware it was obviously trying to mimic Resident Evil was a Dreamcast
Cold
title
Fear,
by the name of
Deep
Carrier.
Fear,
But
what's
years
next for
before
you,
that, on
Cold Fear?
Sega's ill-fated Saturn,
It
some of
wasn't
us got to
episode
see a
6,
really
it's
cool attempt
episode
at capturing
5.
the lightning that was RE's success in a bottle. Deep Fear was a Sega-produced title and took the survival horror genre in a direction that you still don't see very often. The game takes place in probably the most claustrophobic environment humanly imaginable, that being the ocean floor. You play as John Mayer. No, not that one, although that would make for a wildly different game. And you had a civilian-run rescue service called ERS, and you and your crew operate out of a naval refueling operation called the Big Table. While you're going about your undersea business, a capsule lands in the ocean that just so happens to contain a chimpanzee that was sent into space 40 years ago. While that's going on, a submarine that was meant to refuel at the Big Table instead decides to crash into the top secret research division on site. Being the only rescue operation available at the moment, the powers that be decide the risk of sending civilians into a top secret facility is a small price to pay to save a few lives, so the ERS go into action. Along their way, the team runs into some kind of infection that turns people into grotesque insect-type creatures. And like you would assume, it eventually makes its way into the Big Table, and also, like you would assume, we are the only ones who can stop it. Gameplay in Deep Fear plays it pretty safe in my opinion. The Resident Evil formula exists in a pretty unmolested state here, with just about everything you would expect being present and accounted for. One of the additions that I was not
I love the
expecting
Green
though
Gang
was a system
song.
that lets you recharge your bullets at certain points on the map. Something that may wreak hell with the whole survival horror classification in my opinion, but realistically speaking,
The
I
gamer
imagine the amount
uncle
of
hasn't
firepower that a
touched
single
this
person
one.
would have access to in a naval facility might be so plentiful that, well, it might as well be unlimited. Plus, it's nice seeing where RE Dead Aim was drawing its inspiration from. The other factor to keep in mind when playing a little Deep Fear is that each area of the map has varying levels of oxygen, which is represented by a meter and a few counters on screen. This wasn't only a really good move in my mind, but it also serves as a really cool way to gamify Deep Fear's underwater setting. Scattered all around the environment are panels that'll let you flood a room with oxygen, and when these can't be found, you can actually throw oxygen grenades, a phenomenon that just feels ridiculous to even describe out loud. Moving around in Deep Fear works pretty much exactly like you would expect, with tank controls and kind of clunky movement, but it doesn't feel as organic as a typical Resident Evil title thanks to the slow loading nature of each room or menu transition. Typically, you're only going to spend a second or
Do you
maybe
like
two
ginger
in any
beer?
one area, but moving to a new screen
had
can
it.
often last longer than the amount of time
Oxygen
spent in the
grenades.
previous one.
Kill
and
them
in
with
a game
ox.
chasing after a genre where exploration is the key point, this really kind of, I guess, tainted the experience for me by making it feel incredibly choppy. On top of that, if I'm being really picky, combat feels pretty clunky, something that might be a problem if this title weren't years ahead of its time by allowing the player to both fire their weapon and run at full speed. A concept that I would like to add still hasn't caught on in most modern RE games.
It
One
is a
thing
drink
that I
with a
imagine would
ginger
have blown
taste.
me away back in its day was the sheer amount of CG animated cutscenes this game has in it. In the first few hours of gameplay, you've already watched minutes worth of animated cutscenes, which was a lot for the time. I mean, CDs weren't exactly known for their infinite amount of storage space, and the compression available
It
to
like
developers at
root
the
beer.
time wasn't amazing either, so it's nice to see a Saturn game that
Oh
beats
my
out your
God, the
typical
fingernails.
Squaresoft
Ew,
release
ew,
in the
ew.
density of pre-rendered cutscenes.
Whoa. Your boyfriend? Just kidding.
To be totally honest, Deep Fear is a sort of sad story for
Kill
me
it with
because
fire.
it has a buttload going in its favor. It nails that Resident Evil
Oh, I'm not really a
combination
big
of a
fan of
fearful
Root
setting
Beer,
and a
though.
story that's
But,
just
you
shy
know,
of
if I
purposeful
ever have the chance,
satire.
I'll still give it a
I just
try.
wish the game didn't always feel like it was about to give my Saturn a heart attack. If the amount of time spent looking at a
Give
blank
Saturn
screen
a
with
heart
white
attack.
text over it could be cut in half, I'd feel so much better investing my time in this one, but as it is, I always get to the same point in the story where I just stop being excited to see what's next and end up putting it down eventually. As a little interesting factoid, Deep Fear never got a US release officially speaking, but there are ISOs out there that have been converted from the PAL release of the game. Now I haven't burned one myself to see if it'll work with a pseudo Saturn card or mod chip, but I have tried it on the Fenrir ODE and it works perfectly. I would definitely recommend you guys who adore the genre like I do take a look at this one. It scratches nearly every itch you'll likely be looking to get scratched and does so in an interesting environment. And when you think about it, isn't that like 90% of what you're looking for in an RE game?
Do
I
you
guess
think
as a
Mortal
warning, just
Kombat
don't go in
Deception
expecting
is
it
a
to hold your
better game
attention
than
for very
Mortal
long.
Kombat
That being
Unchained?
said, try to tough it out and make it to the end of this one.
don't think
There's a
I'm
lot more here
familiar
than
with
poorly
Unchained.
recorded English voice acting, although there is plenty of that to be
I'm
found
not
as well.
sure.
What? I told you there's a monster down there.
Didn't you say you just took care of it?
Well guys, that is about the maximum amount of RE clones I am legally allowed to put in a single video, but don't you worry, I'll have some more out as soon as I can. By my estimate, there's at least another 9 or 10 titles left to comb through, and that's not counting the good ideas I'll no doubt get from the comment section of this
my
video,
headset's
so
trying to
make sure
die
to
on
stick
me.
around. But until next time, I will see all of you later. Have a good one, guys. Yo, thanks for sticking around, guys. The idea behind this video came from me
Unchained
trying
is
to
a
find a way to
PSP
finally
game
cover
where
all
the
the games I
gameplay
get
is
the most
just like
requests for.
Deception
So
with a
if you've ever made a
different name.
request, I hope you either saw it here today or will next time. I truly couldn't do this stuff without you guys, so here's hoping this video showed at least a little of my appreciation. If you're looking to foot the bill for more content like this, I'll have my Patreon linked on screen and some more videos you might get into. You guys stay safe, and I will see all of you next time.
Alright. Oh my god, my headset's yelling at me that it needs to be charged. Ugh. Let me check my other headset. Hang on, just, there we go. Okay, let's see.
Song is a other name for Shang Tsung.
Okay, so this is Amazing Digital Circus episode 5? Was this a trailer?
This
or a
is
full
Wix Studio, the platform for agencies and enterprises,
Why am I
built
getting
to
an
meet
ad?
any brief.
Oh, so is this like a whole episode?
I don't wait for next episode.
Welcome back, my candy hearts and paper flowers!
Well, that sure could have gone better. But I'm sure the next adventure will be less... what?
It is just a teaser for the next episode.
Can you help me count my eggs before they hatch?
Oh, yeah, of course. Wait, what?
Looks like that oh-so-positive Ragatha charm is starting to wear off, huh?
If it's a teaser, why is it 25 minutes long?
It for things to come in the next episodes of the show.
Oh, Zooble, you mismatched cash piano, I'll tear you to pieces! Constructive criticism would be greatly appreciated.
Oh my god. Bro crashed out
That's
for a
it.
second.
Everybody besides Zooble, get over here! Everyone, I'm going to pitch to you some future adventure ideas. And I'm going to ask you to give me your honest opinions on them.
I was gonna sleep.
All right, so I've got an adventure where you all
Jax,
tour my
I was gonna
amazing
sleep.
magic chocolate factory and get killed off one by one from OSHA violations. One where a sentient cardiovascular system goes to war against the United States military, and one where you have to survive in a
I love
post-apocalyptic
Jax.
nuclear wasteland with a telepathic talking dog who's mean to you the whole time. What do you think?
I don't know. They all sound a little dark.
How
I can't tell
about
a compelling
no?
story where nothing bad happens. Where's the intrigue? The stakes?
Not to mention the sex appeal.
What are you talking about?
You know, you always try the suggestion box again. I honestly didn't hate the last one we did with it.
You didn't hate it?
It was kind of refreshing doing something grounded in reality.
Yeah, I really didn't mind that one either.
How about no get rid of bubbles?
Very much did not enjoy that
back on
one. If we ever do anything even close to that again, I'm getting violent,
normally
and I'm
never
going
say.
to kill Ragatha.
How am I gonna please
I'm getting
everybody if you all
violent and
like
I'm going to
different
kill
things?
Ragatha.
Maybe just keep your adventures open at all times and let us do whatever we want when we want.
Are you hearing this, Bubble? The Toy Box character wants us to leave the other intelligent AIs to run for a prolonged period of time.
Disgusting.
Am I not supposed to be hearing you?
Zippy!
Am I not
What
supposed
did you
to be
even
hearing
zip
you?
up? I don't have a mouth.
Okay, well, how about this? We'll do a lightning round, going through all the suggestions in the suggestion box in rapid succession. And if you don't like one, you can all vote to skip it.
What? Like now?
That's right. So grab your bones and pop your pansies, cause here we go!
We just
I was
finished
gonna
an adventure!
Oh wait, I know what this is.
Oh, I swear to God, if this is one of your suggestions.
Hi everyone. In today's episode of Poach Everything,
I am getting violent and I'm going to kill
Red
Ragatha.
Ribbon Rhinoceros.
I love Jax so much.
Just like Mom used to make.
Nice shot!
Oh my God.
Headshot.
Delicious meat. One down, 4 to go.
All right, I'm calling a vote. Let's skip this one. And also make Jax a vegan for the rest of the day.
You can't do that. What do you mean you can do that?
Sorry, Jax. Democracy
What do
has
you mean you
spoken.
can do that?
Democracy sucks.
Ha ha.
Why me?
I thought a position of power suited you.
Oh my God, are these all gonna be Jax's ideas?
Well, Miss President, looks like there are some new developments in the
That's
ongoing
Madam
war between
President.
Australia and New Zealand. We may need to take in some refugees. What do you think?
Well, how do you know what to do? What?
Didn't you get the brief?
I am just being here.
You're doing great, Pomni.
Come down here for a sec. We all got briefs on our characters. I'm your assistant.
Why is this
Pomni is in the White House.
Lamp?
Didn't you get one too? I figured we were all on the same page here. But if not, you're gonna have to tap into those golden improv skills.
I'm sorry, what?
Oh yeah.
Sorry, what?
Thanks, Jax.
Did she
Appreciate
get rid of Trump?
Jax.
Hey, I'd rather have
Oi,
Pomni,
mate!
to be
I'm
honest.
an Australian extremist, and I've come to detonate this bomb that'll release all the world's deadliest spiders into... Did I pick a bad time?
His acting is phenomenal. It's hard to believe he's vegan.
What?
Jax is my favorite
Hotspot,
character.
Worry, President
Mine
Pomni.
too.
I believe you can do this.
There's centipedes in there too.
Just be sure you know what you're doing.
Okay, well, which wire do I cut?
Follow your heart.
You stay out of this. Shouldn't you be arrested or something?
Hey, I'm on your side here.
You're literally not.
Come on, just pick your favorite color.
Like the red one?
I'd personally go with blue. Blue's my favorite color, it being closest to black and all.
Wouldn't black be your favorite color then?
Well, no, there's no black wire.
Hi! I'm a New Zealand extremist, and
Makes sense.
I don't know what New Zealand
He is wearing a purple robe.
That's great. Excuse me? What did you say?
That does the pasta.
Anime!
What is this? I don't like this.
Oh, can it? At least we finally have one that's by someone else.
Yeah, there's nothing more fun than being back in school.
Just give it a chance, Jax. Jeez.
There's
They look really cute.
How did you know this was my suggestion?
Can you believe this, Pomni?
Somebody in
First
otaku.
She draws anime. Now she drags us all into one. She must be one of them, losers.
You threw me out of a moving truck.
All right, class.
You threw me
Today,
out of a
we're
moving
gonna learn the
truck.
popular foreign language known as English.
This is boring. I vote we skip it.
Shut up. We're not skipping it.
Slice of life animes are the worst ones. It's embarrassing. I mean...
No, they're not.
It's not as embarrassing as that time Gangle took an anime figure and...
I want to know how Kinga got her on the fast food episode.
Slice of life animes are not the worst. They're not my favorite. That'd probably be isekais. And then like the monster ones. You know, like Monster Girls and stuff like that. Yeah, those are great. But slice of life animes are good too.
Bull riding homie. I personally hate Isekai and Harem.
Chilling for this one? Can I finally relax?
I guess so, but...
Why do you hate
Right
isekais?
to my adventures.
Then why don't you help yourself to a sign?
Because on the wall is it lets you see Kinga got her on the wall.
Do you think Gangle is actually capable of being happy?
What?
I don't know, like her comedy mask still breaks every day. Does she think hanging out with Zubul is gonna magically fix that?
Maybe. She just doesn't want to hang out with someone who's mean to her all the time.
She likes when I'm mean to her, though.
I didn't think you cared about what other
Because a
people
majority of the MCS are boring
Oh,
or
yeah,
have
yeah, you're right.
haircuts so bad I wanna scalp them.
Do you have any actual friends? Not anymore.
I thought Gangle was a boy, so she is a girl.
I wasn't talking
Yeah,
about...
Gangle's a girl.
That wasn't meant to be...
Or she's femme-coded. However you want to say it.
all the way over there?
What was that about?
It's nothing. Who cares? Doesn't she get on your nerves
I don't
sometimes?
know that, don't be mad at me.
Nice to
I'm not.
everyone.
I don't know.
Somebody's
I
mad.
think she tries
Yeah,
way
she's
too hard.
always been a gal.
We're stuck in...
By the way, I love Jax
always
this
pretending
episode.
everything's always fine. Like, if you tell
Good.
someone they're loved
Jax
and
is my
appreciated
favorite.
every day, it just kind of loses all meaning. It just feels like she's trying to take advantage of you, you know?
Oh, Seal, I
Also,
can't
she's
believe you
dumb and she
hate my
looks
favorite
weird.
anime genre.
I think we all look weird.
Excuse you. This is what peak male performance looks like. My ears and tail are
Why you
kind
make
of
me
the
sad?
pinnacle of masculinity.
You don't have a tail.
What are you talking about? Yes, I do. What the? Where's my
Forgive
tail?
me. 3.
How long have I not had my tail?
I have never seen you with a tail.
When would that...
What if I told you
even-
some of my favorite isekai anime?
They look happy.
They do, don't they?
I think after this, maybe we could...
Wait a minute! That's a bad thing!
Because you know, just because it's
Explain to
isekai
Daddy,
doesn't mean I'm gonna
that'll happen.
She'll
automatically
give me a
like it.
I think
hit.
that... Don't say that. I think they're enjoying the suggestion box adventures more than the me adventures! What should I do?
I need something. Is it Jax of MK11 or this?
Rising of the Shield Hero was pretty damn good. That's the one off the top of my head I can think of I really enjoyed. And I really enjoyed that one about the fruits of evolution, I think is what it was called. That one was pretty good.
You should.
The Slaver anime.
Slaver anime. Yeah, that would be Shield Hero. Yeah, that one is awesome. Does Overlord? I think Overlord's technically an isekai too. Overlord is amazing.
Don, you should throw a beach party.
Why do you
I
swear
like
now?
the Isekai and
Forget it.
harem.
Let's go to an intermission.
Harem, depends on the anime. Everyday Life with Monster Girls was a pretty good one.
I like Attack on Titan.
I've never actually seen that one.
LOL Love Bubble, but interesting choice Mermaid. That one actually seemed interesting, the Monster Gal one.
Oh, it is. Ooh, what kind of drugs did we just take?
Holy shit, JJK reference.
Why?
Did you see the trailer for the Invincible game?
No. What's the
This
Invincible
is
game?
Wix Studio. Built to
Ah,
meet
why
any
am I
brief.
getting ads?
When the brief calls for complex structure, let AI
And now back to the show.
Give me a whiskey sour, but hold the egg white.
Should I but in the meme and video for
I hate
you?
this! How is this even possible? I thought Kane couldn't.
I could have made it way worse for you.
Well, I'm calling a vote.
Sure, why not?
Turn Zubul into a slug.
Everyone voted against that.
Woo! It's raining like the Dickens out there.
Yo, Ragatha. Nice outfit.
I'll have a cosmopolitan.
Give me a corncob blitz.
I'll throw something together.
You know your way around alcohol, huh?
Yeah, this was one of my suggestions. I worked at a bar briefly. I like making drinks.
That sounds fitting for you.
Uh-oh, hang on.
I find it interesting how they can get drunk and high.
So, Pomni, you ever have
I
any
did
jobs?
for you.
Or are you too young for that?
I'm 25 years old. And, yeah, I was an
Thanks, yeah.
accountant for a supermarket
Oh,
chain.
Invincible,
Also,
the
Zubul is a
show.
delight.
Well, I sometimes got bored of things.
Oh, you meant Invincible,
and I
the
would seek out
show
mild
with
thrills, like
okay, yeah.
exploring
I've actually
abandoned
have not
buildings,
watched
you know?
Invincible yet.
And
I kind of want
posting
to though.
videos
I
out
got so much shit I need to
Ah,
catch up on.
YouTuber.
not really. Nobody watched them.
Aw.
It's just something I did for me.
I sometimes did that. I wouldn't record it, though. Here's your Cosmo.
Thanks.
Hiding something.
You'd know all about that, wouldn't
Is
you?
it coming out
I thought you'd never
2026?
ask. Well, after my lung
Season
cancer
1 is good
diagnosis,
and the
me
rest
my
are
junkie
hit and
associate
miss.
From a chemistry class I used to teach.
I figured. How about you, Gangle?
Hey, I wasn't done.
And I watch season 1 to 3.
Was that a reference?
I know what you're referencing.
I worked in fast food.
You've done more than that. What about your art?
I was in community college for graphic design, but I dropped out. I didn't really pursue art much after that.
Hey, I'm always down to make art together if you want.
Oh, I didn't know you were an artist too, Zubul.
Call it.
Yeah, I was a tattoo artist for a couple years.
A bartender and a tattoo artist? You're killing me here, Zuby.
What do you mean when you say that? You have, like, an actual point, or are you just talking?
I'm just having fun. I forgot you hate fun.
Fun isn't the thing I hate.
I guess I'll go now.
Zuby sounds
Jeez,
pretty
where to start?
badass.
I was born into a fairly wealthy family. We had a large
What is her
property with
nickname for
horses
Jax?
and chickens, and my mother.
Not sure.
Well, my mother was.
I don't know.
a
What
lot.
is it?
I worked in real estate for a bit.
I like the nickname for Zubul.
I'm sure she doesn't miss me. I certainly don't miss the yelling.
Aw.
Braiding.
She don't get to see her mom and dad.
And the... Yeah. Just
Possibly
kind
a
of farm
rabbit
girl,
slur
nothing
or
too
a
out of the
swear,
ordinary.
but Kane won't allow it lol.
And no point in asking Kinger, because there's no way he remembers anything.
Never better.
Yep.
Do you guys know about his wife?
Huh?
My what? Oh.
What?
That's just
What?
a hearing guy. That's just what he does.
What the hell?
See. From a previous adventure?
Yeah, God, Pomni, you didn't know that?
I'm ignoring you.
By the way, Pomni, sorry about the whole president thing. I just thought it'd be funny.
Are you
Canny
apologizing?
don't like NPCs.
Apology accepted, I guess.
Wow,
Yeah, that's
the
true.
first steps of a budding friendship.
As we
right,
saw
Ragatha?
with Gummy Goo.
Hey, Pomni. Remember when Cosmo smashed me against the walls and I got all jumbled up? All things considered, that was pretty funny, right?
No.
No, it was
not
terrifying.
really.
Oh, yeah, no. Sorry. That was probably pretty traumatic for you.
Oh, remember when you got high at McDonald's and told Gangle to kill herself? No, that was
Oh
funny.
my god.
I did not say that. I think. No, of course I didn't. And I am still so sorry about that.
I
Gangle.
think he's
would
being
never
honest,
have said
but
anything
using
like
a
that.
shield of jerk to hide his true self.
Jeez, Raggy, just let yourself be mean sometimes.
Oh yeah, of
Funny.
course.
Yeah, constantly tormenting Gangle's really funny, Jax.
You guys all take this place way too seriously. What is this? Why'd you do that? Can you get that thing away from me?
Are you afraid of corn?
No.
What?
I'm afraid of corn.
On board! Let's go to the next
CORN.
adventure!
Wait, you're not even a part of...
It's softball, ladies and
Corn.
gentlemen!
Oh,
Corn is good.
Snow.
Beautiful night for a game, right, Bubble? We've got the Big Tops playing against the evil
Corn
Big
is
Tops.
Jack's weakness. And now for the funniest part.
Dictator here.
Hi, guys. I'm Evil Jax.
Evil Orbsman reporting for duty.
I'm Bazool. Well, that wasn't in my suggestion.
Why don't I get an evil clone?
But first, let's welcome
Oh,
our
ho,
special
ho.
guest, here
What
to
the hell
sing
is...
the American
What cat is under my
national
bed?
anthem.
That better not be you, Ashes.
More like Skyjacks.
Oh, say.
Was that disappearing guy again? Oh no, it wasn't Ashes, it was Marshmallow.
All right,
Just
Goodbye.
under my bed.
I may not know what's going on, or who is going on, or when is going on,
Yeah, it was.
or why is going on.
Who's on first?
But I do know
Evil
where it's
Gangle
going.
would just be
And
some
it's out
sort
on
of
that
deviant,
field.
so Kane
let's
deleted
go
her.
break some
Yeah,
tailbones,
probably.
team.
Hey, guys. I hope we all have a fun game, no matter who ends up winning.
Oh,
I want to
hates
kill
it.
that guy.
I knew he was gonna say something like that. Oh my god. Okay.
Well, hello, stupid Gatha. I hope you're ready to get
I can kill him.
annihilated. Nobody loves you, and you're going to die someday.
Damn.
We can't exactly die. It's like the
And
whole thing
her.
here.
What the frick?
What the frick?
Check this out. You're out, dumb.
Damn. Evil Pomni's a potty mouth.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
This must be giving Ragatha mommy
What's
flashbacks.
that?
Probably, yeah.
Sailor Pomni.
What the heck? You!
Oh, come on, Jax. You look cute.
Jax, you're up to bat.
I don't wanna. I quite look like this,
Made
though.
Seems
Jax.
fitting for you, though. I figured
Hot.
you'd be into this.
What does that mean? What's that supposed to mean?
I'm just having fun. I forgot you hate fun.
I don't want to wear this.
Hot.
I have never seen you this upset about something, right?
Jax, bat.
I'm gonna
Jax,
kill you when this is over.
kill you when this is over.
Let's see what you're made of.
Shut up!
Don't worry. I think you look good.
I don't want to hear that.
It
I
like
want you
Jax
dead.
as he was a goth in a maid outfit. I love the heart chest window.
Well, guess
He
there's no
looks
more ball.
genuinely
We're done.
beautiful.
I got
Yes, I love it. Ooh, get ready for the fan art to start rolling in.
Oh, it's just the perfect regulation softball size. We're not playing baseball here.
Same here.
I'm not doing this anymore. Wait, Jax! What about where is going on?
Can't believe I hit it right to her. I'm supposed to be better than that. Sorry. I should be a better sport.
Not to, like, agree with Jax or
The hell
anything,
did her
but
eye go?
There's nothing wrong with showing your negative emotions. That's pretty normal.
I don't know. I don't want to be a jerk or anything.
I think we all need to be a jerk sometimes.
Yeah.
Maybe. Who knows?
Who do you think will abstract out them all?
Kane, we need a ball here.
I don't know.
Oh,
Jax, we have a ball now. What are you doing?
see ya. Whoops, I missed.
Come on, Jax.
Oh darn, I'm out.
Having fun?
Oh, you know it. Oh look, Gangle's up to bat. How do you think this is gonna go?
Would you stop trying to force her to act like you?
Oh yeah, I should force her to be happy all the time instead, right?
Well, it's better than
I can
turning her
see
into
the
some
I have the
insensitive jerk who
stupid sauce
deflects
in it.
everything.
I can think for myself, guys.
Hey, I ain't forcing anything on you.
And then you just act like you never do anything wrong and everybody loves you, when in reality you just
God, he's
everything up for
handsome.
everyone else!
Okay, let's, like, calm down a bit.
What? You're the one who said it's fine to be a jerk sometimes! Ugh. I'm sorry, Pommy.
I have a crush on Jax in the maid outfit.
It's fine.
No apologies for me? This is so sad.
I'm sorry, Jax. For bringing up that thing earlier.
Uh-oh.
So, you wanna talk?
She
about
has
that?
mommy issues.
I'm in a maid outfit, what do you think?
Kinda figured she was fake.
Stop playing that ad before you give me a
how's the game
copyright.
It is
claim.
hot.
Great! Gangle hit a home run!
Really?
Yeah, your instructions helped me a lot.
Huh.
Can you give me my eye back? Joke's on you. I've already forgotten what you're talking about.
Oh,
Wowee!
Damn.
Another home run!
God damn it!
What?
oh my god.
Nice going, Zubul! Alright, Pomni, you're up.
Hey, Ragatha. You wanna bat for me instead?
Good
I
for
guess I
her, she
could.
had it coming.
If you really don't want to.
Think of it as a second chance to show him who's boss.
Yeah.
I love evil Zubul. Also seems the sensor feature is failing, lol.
Bazowie Zoo-wee-wah! Another home run! And that makes 3 home runs in a row! The Big Tops win!
That's
Okay.
not how softball works.
Well, that's how my softball works. We're done. Hooray!
Everyone is gone for the
Man, we didn't even get to
world.
bat.
You did it, Ragatha! We won!
I mean, I guess.
By default.
Good job. Whatever you did.
Huh? Oh yeah. Good job, team.
Huh? Oh, cool. I'm not a vegan anymore.
Oh hey. Wait. What are you?
What is going on?
God.
I don't get how he is picking her without hands.
Well, I hope we
Kane
all
is
learned
getting
that
kinda,
suggestion box
not
ideas are
immediately,
actually not
but
fun
he
at all,
seems
and
to be
Kane's
getting
ideas
closer,
are much
Savage
better.
Jax.
Well, some of them were pretty.
Finally, I hate
I
evil
kinda liked
Jax.
the low stakes ones.
I thought the first 2 were awesome. The rest, eh.
Brother,
Oh
chill.
yeah, Pomni. I can show you that thing in the hall I was talking about.
Oh yeah, sure.
What's going
I
on
will
here?
call it. NPC in hiding.
I keep forgetting how funny this show is. Oh, they have merch. Oh my god, I want that Jax mug.
I am still watching it. I found this episode the funniest. Same here. He's a little teapot, lol.
Barry here from the Wix Studio team. We recently launched a feature that's getting major love in...
Shut up. Oh, that's a game. Okay.
I don't wait for this game to come out. Happy Ghast in Minecraft is a new update.
This is ridiculous. Please, come on.
Okay, good, some gore.
Dad, not even close.
Yo, she's like Sindel with that hair.
Finally, I want more gore. Get the Tokyo Gargoyles involved.
I hoped you'd understand why I had to do this. Accept our rule, or die.
Hopefully it isn't another turn-based game.
I'd like to propose a third option.
Get Harvick in this game.
I'm the guy who's going to throw you off this planet for good. I'm
invincible.
I trusted you.
Ready to bleed? This is over.
The gameplay is so fucking good.
Let's do this.
Holy shit, it's just a MK12 ripoff.
Need a hand?
Well, it's a fighting game.
Yeah, you like this? It's an army.
I am ending you. I see it all now.
Whoa. Holy shit.
Like Mortal Kombat 1.
Okay. I still have to watch this show, like I said, even though I kind of already had some of it spoiled for me, like Omni-Man slaughtering the whole team is supposed to be like a surprise. It's supposed to be like a, yeah, unexpected OMG moment.
He did it.
Oh yeah, Nuke's Top 5 has a new video. We can watch that. Ooh, hang on.
Wait.
1 second, 1 second. Let me resize the window. There we go.
One evening in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Heather Paul is outside on her front
Did we
porch having
finish
some ice
watching
cream with her
SCP
husband and her 2
videos?
sons. But then, Heather suddenly spots something
Yeah,
that
they haven't,
absolutely creeps
had
her
a new one yet.
out.
There's like little mosquitoes. What are kind of going on?
Booga booga! Ghosty
About
goo.
Josh Dobbs.
What? What did you say? What did you say, Mommy? I couldn't hear you.
She scares me? Oh wait, is
Hey,
that
do
an action?
you see that creepy ass thing in the distance? Not the ghost girl, that weird stick thing that's drooling.
What?
Heather whispers, "She scares me."
Oh, was
to
that
her
a real
husband and
person?
children, but they have no idea what she's talking about. Neither her husband or sons can see the bizarre figure dressed in white that is walking down the sidewalk only about 20 feet away.
JK.
Oh.
Heather says that the woman looked like, quote, a lady dressed like a nurse
Playing
from
with
the
ya.
1950s with an
Don't
eerie
do
grin
that!
on her face. Heather is now freaked out. She can't understand why no one else saw the strange nurse. So she checks the footage from their front door security camera. And sure enough, the recording also shows a creepy pale figure walking right by.
It just immediately creeped me out, so I just kind of like jumped.
But it gets even weirder. Because you see, Heather lives only a mile away from a notorious old abandoned mental asylum, the
course she
Philadelphia
does.
State Hospital at Byberry.
So a little backstory, I live about a mile from where Byberry State Hospital used to be. This is one of the, I'm pretty sure the most notorious mental hospital in the country. A lot of abuse went on there. There
I
was
have one of the
lobotomies
Ring
performed on
doorbell.
patients. There was experiments performed on patients. A lot of them lost their lives because they were just treated so horribly. The conditions that that hospital was in was so inhumane, and no human should have ever had to go through what these patients went through. And
It's
these people just
always a
needed help, which
mental
is very sad.
asylum,
They were
never
so
a cursed
overcrowded,
Taco
like
Bell or a haunted
nurse-to-patient
motel.
ratio was just
I would like to see a
With
cursed
2
Taco
student
Bell.
nurses and maybe 3 attendants, we have all we can do to bathe the patients, get them to cafeteria, take them to the doctors, give them their medications, and try to keep the place clean.
Now, when I was a kid growing up, we used to definitely go in there, and it was really scary. Like, the second you walk on the grounds, you just feel like it's cold, it's not normal, it feels weird. Like, you can tell somebody's watching you. There's underground tunnels underneath, so we used to run around them too, and they used to use
Is
those
it
tunnels to
Arkham
transport
Asylum?
bodies. And there was still those like metal slab beds
No,
that
Arkham
they were still
Asylum
down there when we went in there, like, you
is
know, in the
actually a
2000s.
good
I felt my arm grabbed in there once,
And don't
I moved my
forget to
flashlight,
shock
I thought it
their
was my friend, and my
balls.
friend was like over there. And
Head Dr. Hugo Martinez
This
says
story
it's
gets
necessary.
Even weirder still. Heather's dad lived in the same house as a boy. When Heather shows her dad,
Is that that you never know? That could have been an actual procedure for getting rid of for curing sex addiction or something. Just shot
creepy
their
footage,
testicles.
he tells her that a woman named Linda used to live in the house next door. And during the 1950s, Linda was a nurse at the old Byberry Mental Hospital. So
Did you
Heather
see
catch
the
ghost
Martin
of the
Luther
nurse from the
Jr.
old abandoned
speech?
hospital?
And it
if
only
not,
made it worse,
why did no one
lol.
else see the strange woman
It is
walking
called
down the
shock
sidewalk?
therapy.
Yeah, shock therapy.
Ho, no. Cara Messina lives in an
yeah,
old
it probably
house
made
in
it
New York
worse
State
for
that was built in the
certain
1800s
individuals.
and has a very tragic past. In the early to mid 1800s, the house was part of the Underground Railroad, a network for fugitive slaves seeking freedom. Slaves escaping the South were forced to hide under the house to avoid capture by authorities. Because of its dark
No,
history,
no,
Cara
no,
believes
God,
that
no.
the house might be haunted. And she says that while her family has lived there, they have had, quote, some ghostly activity through the years. So one day, Cara and her daughter are just relaxing around the house, and they start to hear a very strange sound coming from the basement.
Did you get the
So for
reference?
the last 20 minutes, I've been sitting on my couch, and it's been dead silent, and all of a sudden I hear Santa, and I thought it was coming from outside, and it's not. And this is my
Hey,
basement.
your warranty.
What reference?
Summer.
The God, no, no.
What's it supposed to be?
Tell
Oh,
me
why
it's
do y'all
something
have
that's
Chucky
Chucky right now.
dolls? I mean, I know I would have a Chucky doll because I'm a...
Damn gal, you live like this.
I think that's their basement. That's funny though.
Right, but it hasn't been touched, and all of a sudden
Is
after
an
all
office mean?
Yeah, I was about to say, were you trying to do the office thing? No, God, please, no, no, no.
And it's off.
Cara's daughter flips through a box, which ironically contains 2 old Chucky dolls, only to find that a Santa figurine has suddenly activated itself and is just talking away, even though the power switch is turned off. But there's something even weirder here that video viewers noticed after this clip was uploaded. Because, did you hear it?
Right, but it hasn't been touched, and all of a
It
sudden
is
after
so
all of these
fucking
months,
creepy.
Are you sure it said no stop?
Just as the Santa doll is picked up and suddenly stops talking, it can be heard seeming to frantically yell, "No, stop!"
Are you sure that's what he's actually saying?
So is Cara's basement haunted?
Or is just
the little
sounds
Santa
like
doll
it?
possessed by some wayward spirit? Or is it all just a very odd coincidence? You decide.
I mean, faulty batteries
Daddy
can
Ghost.
make things do.
One morning, a woman
like,
named
weird
Cheyenne is
stuff,
taking care of her 2-year-old daughter.
He
when
is
the little
saying
girl
no
says
stop.
something very strange.
Could be an error due to losing power.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Dying batteries can mess with it.
Is it your daddy?
No, it's your daddy.
Is where?
Daddy's right here.
It's your daddy.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay, show me.
See?
Is Grandpa dead?
Your daddy's missing you.
My daddy's missing me?
That's your tail.
Let's go get him. Where'd he go?
In you.
Okay, show me.
Her daughter seems to be referring to Cheyenne's dad, which is odd because not only has her daughter never met her granddad, but even Cheyenne
It is
herself
so
was only
creepy.
just a toddler when her father passed away.
Imagine reaching
So
out to
Cheyenne
touch
shows her
something
daughter a
and
picture,
suddenly
and
you
the
feel
little
it
girl
in front
confirms
of
that it's
you,
the man
but
she
you
saw in
can't
the
feel
hallway
it.
of their house.
Whoa.
Yes? Yes, it looks like that.
Daddy. Daddy. Daddy.
Yeah?
See it
Then, Mabel,
asterisk.
what does your ghost do?
No.
What did you say he gave you?
Heart.
A heart?
Daddy. Daddy.
Uh-huh.
Daddy.
Yeah.
2 days later, and it happens again.
Just see me.
What sees you? The ghost? What are you talking about?
Come on.
Go touch grass now. Yo, daddy is the fire's youngin'.
The dryer scared me, and you already freaked me out.
He's in there?
Cheyenne says that her daughter still occasionally talks to the entity that the little girl now refers to as, quote, Daddy Ghost. But Cheyenne says that some online comments have scared her a bit.
She calls him Daddy Ghost. She's only had an
The
experience
kid
like that
looks
2 or
like
3
Anakin
times. Doesn't happen
Skywalker
often,
after
but
the
when it does,
battle
I
with
try to
Obi-Wan.
capture it on video. I also had a lot of comments saying that it wasn't like something nice. It was something mean. That freaked me out, so don't say that again. A lot of people were telling me don't communicate with it. I'm not. I'm scared. She is, and she doesn't understand. So, tell him, Mabel.
So is Cheyenne's daughter seeing the ghost of her granddad stopping by for a visit? What do you think? A grave situation. A young woman named Britt lives on a
That
large
kid
horse
is
ranch
cute,
in the
though, I'll give him
mountains.
that.
She says that lately, things around the ranch have gotten a little strange. Well, actually, they've gotten
Did you
a
see
lot
the trailer
strange.
for the
It
new
all starts
series?
one day when Britt's dog Josie just completely freaks out.
So, I'm recording this just in the off chance.
I
that
want
no
to
one
heard
believes me.
whispers in my past.
Maybe I can
They
catch it.
sometimes said my name or come here. I just eventually told them to fuck off.
I was just inside.
Should I let the message go through to the chat?
I already did.
Once heard asterisk.
She's up in that room upstairs. You can really hear her working. Josie? Josie?
Can you let me know when a new message the bad
Yeah, she's
word
just
come
been-
into the chat?
Staring at that, and then she started barking, and she growled. And when she growled, I kind of like booked it. But I don't really know. Like,
Good for me.
that's usually like her stance while she's waiting for me to come home, and I'm just like, is she waiting for someone to walk out of that closet? Like, I just don't really know.
I'd be grabbing me a weapon
But she's
and going to
staring
check
at-
it out.
Because again, like,
Dogs can genuinely hear and sense the dead. The same happened with my dogs.
I'm just like,
She is so brave.
Right? Like I said, I'd be at least grabbing a weapon in case it's an intruder.
like, what? What is it? What is it?
The dog starts ferociously barking at the upstairs bedroom closet for absolutely no
I'd grab a
reason.
knife.
But little Josie's strange
Devon, get the
behavior
chairs.
doesn't stop there. As Britt mentioned, she has a private cemetery in front of her house where some of her family members and also several of their deceased pets are all buried together. Recently, the dog Josie has just started staring at the small graveyard.
Josie?
I think is her mom or dad.
Could be.
Josie, what's going on?
The horses on the ranch often just stare toward the small cemetery as well.
Well, that's not creepy. Seriously, what are you two looking at? What is it?
But now, weirdest of all, Britt says that lately the neighbors' cows have started to wander over to her property, and they also just weirdly stand around the small graveyard.
That
See,
is
this
weird.
is what I'm talking about. They literally
Help
just
Master
come out
Cowboy.
here all the time now.
The headless horse is coming for our souls. You what do would be a good idea for Xbox.
Why? They just kind of come and really breathe around this area. And they just kind of will freeze and won't move. So, yeah. What's up?
a goth console and controller.
Britt is confused and a little creeped out by all of the animals' strange behavior. But things are about to take an even more terrifying turn.
Oh dear.
One night,
what
Britt
next?
orders some food from Uber Eats. The driver is a bit disturbed by the gathered cows at the graveyard, but he completes his delivery. And then things just get weird.
He's like, well, that's weird.
Hurry up, shrimp.
It looks unsettled. Yeah.
Them damn UFOs.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Sorry about that. This is location is outside.
The song from Family Guy.
So interesting. Yeah. Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah. Okay. No problem. Thank you so much. Okay, thank you. Have a good night. Oh my God. No, I scared these are all. They're actually not mine. I don't know. It wasn't showing up. No. No. Oh. They come hang out around here every night. Yeah.
Wow. Very strange.
What would you do if this happened in your house?
Yep. Hi. Thank you.
That cow's looking at her like, ain't you seeing this shit?
Every freaking night, like even at night, they even come and hang out here, and they just like stand and like. Are you for real right now?
I didn't think it's someone from the dead or a person who died in her house and not want to cross over into the spirit world.
Oh, did you see that? Something grabbed her shirt.
Something sets off the alarm inside Britt's house, and as she carefully walks back inside, some unseen force seems to actually grab and pull her shirt. She
What
drops
was
her food
it?
in terror and runs back out. Britt says that she was too afraid to return to the house. She spent the rest of the night in the family RV that was parked outside. Hunter or hunted. Nick and Ted
Well,
created
that
a YouTube channel,
sounds
The
like a
Hunting
skull
Public,
issue.
outlaw
Okay,
hunting on
that's
public lands in the
genuinely
remote
freaky.
wilderness of Missouri. Suddenly they hear something that sends chills down their spines. Now, let me say before I show you these clips, in accordance with YouTube guidelines, no one is shown being hurt in the following video. There's absolutely no evidence that any crime was committed in this video or that anyone was injured in any way. Alright, so, while Nick and Ted are hunting, they hear a gunshot, followed by some insane screaming. They immediately grab their camera and start recording.
Oh, excuse me.
Now, Nick and Ted are in such a remote area of the Missouri woods that they have no cell service to call the authorities. So, all they can do is listen.
I keep getting chills all down my back.
Yeah.
Somebody is screaming at the absolute Doppler mode over there. Very not good obscenities to someone else. I've never witnessed anybody screaming like that.
Damn! I'd be getting the hell out of there.
Something not good's going on.
Yeah, I'd be getting out of there.
Someone's getting murdered tonight.
Now, maybe it's just some, like, crazy guy having an episode or something. Maybe, I don't know.
Again, Nick tries to call someone to report the incident, but they still can't find a spot in the woods with cell service.
Or Jason.
We ain't got any service in here, so can't call the police and tell them to go over there and see what the heck's going on, but sound like something off a dang horror movie over there.
Yeah.
At this point, Nick and Ted are totally freaked out. They just head back to their truck so that they can get out of there and call the police.
I've heard some stuff that I feel needs to be reported to the police department. I was hunting, me and a buddy were hunting.
You're in the
and
middle
about
of nowhere, so the
6:45,
cops
we heard
can't do
gunshots,
anything.
which is not uncommon. But then for 30 minutes straight or so, there was lots of screaming and just people, obscenities, and it sounded like something really bad was going on over there, and there was 20 or more gunshots ended up happening. I have pins dropped on a map about how far we were from where we think this was occurring. We didn't know what to do, and we had no service, so we're trying to report and see if anything had been reported about there.
Days later, Nick and Ted provide an update on what happened after their terrifying encounter in the woods.
So after that,
It's still good to report that stuff, though.
And
whether they can do anything or not.
I had some
Don't
contact
mind
with
the
state
gate
game
woman.
warden,
They
and
make all their
they
pot
told me that
here
they
so
found
they
nothing
shoot
the
anyone on
situation when they went
sight.
in there, and there was nothing to be found.
Even though Nick and Ted reported the disturbing incident and even provided GPS coordinates to local authorities, nothing was found at the site. There's absolutely no evidence that any kind of horrible event ever took place there.
You know, it
That's
freaked
weird.
us out, and you know, we really got unsettled by it. We weren't scared that someone wasn't coming after us, but we had heard something that it could have been. You know, your mind goes to think about what could that be, and you know, I immediately go to worst case scenario.
So did Nick and Ted just hear someone having a random temper tantrum or a breakdown? Was it just someone freaking out and maybe just shooting guns at a tree stump?
That's what I think.
Probably.
Or was it something much more disturbing?
It could
You
just be
decide.
somebody. Could just
For
be
the full
somebody
version
having
of
an
this video,
episode,
be sure to check out the channel, The Hunting Public.
or they
Shadow
took
of a
something
Doubt.
and are freaking out.
Now, I've covered the strange and creepy story of a woman named Rosanna in one of my previous videos. Rosanna lives in France in an apartment that she claims is intensely haunted by some mysterious dark entity. One night while she is home alone, she starts to hear strange sounds coming from her children's playroom.
Or is that Roxanna?
What she catches on camera is truly chilling.
Whoop. Oh. Is that a toy moving by itself? Okay. As it goes.
These ghosts wanna play. Let's send their souls to hell.
As it goes with these kinds of videos, it could just be a hoax, like that's just their friend back there making all that happen. Now, when it rolled around on the floor, I mean, you could probably figure out a way to make that happen. So, take these kinds of videos.
I am
with a
not
grain of
afraid
salt.
of none ghosts.
I'm afraid of no ghosts. Well, I am.
True.
Boy, that kid ain't hurting for toys, is he? The worst happens? Fuck this shit, I'm out. Fuck this shit, I'm out.
Toys in the playroom begin to move on their
These
own.
lady
and
chill.
as Rosanna goes to investigate, she notices something very strange. Did you see it?
Yes, we
In the
saw
window
it.
reflection, the large shadowy figure of a man seems to be standing right behind her. But when she spins around, there's no one there. Rosanna sees the strange shadow behind her again in the reflection, but then the figure just disappears. Rosanna claims that this dark spirit has haunted her apartment for
Okay,
months,
I'd be
but
freaked
she
out
just
too.
can't afford to
Yeah.
move out right now. So is Rosanna being haunted by some evil entity? Or is it all just an elaborate hoax?
It's
You
usually an
decide.
elaborate hoax.
A guide to the other side. A young woman named Diana posted a very disturbing video to Instagram. In the video, Diana and her brother are watching as the police arrive at a trailer at the edge of their property. The police are showing up for a wellness check after the sad, lonely man who rents the trailer has not been seen for weeks.
Uh-oh.
It turns out that the man had unfortunately passed away inside the trailer. This is the footage.
Right there, right there.
Oh, yes, flashing
going up to
strobing lights, guys. Ugh.
So wait, you said the light wasn't off?
Yeah, exactly. And I knew that something was going on. That's a lot of cops.
Holy sh**, the hell? Oh my god, they're calling. Are they calling something in? They're going back over. What was Tom doing?
There's like an app you can check or something to figure out.
Jesus. Abby's okay.
She's fine.
Did you see it? The small shadow of a child can be seen lurking outside the trailer, seemingly lost and abandoned. But the police don't even notice, walking right by as if they can't even see the child. And then suddenly the small child shadow just disappears. Watch again. The figure disappears into thin air right in front of the police, but they don't seem to see anyone. Viewers of the video pointed out that there was another odd apparition in this video, something that looks like the shadowy figure of a man standing in the trailer window. So a few days later,
Well, that
Diana
one I
and
don't
her
really
father
see.
go to check out the trailer, and things get really weird.
Yeah, I don't have any. I don't have issues with seizures. I'm not epileptic, but I'm kind of, what is that, photosensitive or whatever? The flashing strobing lights will make me nauseous and give me a headache.
Oh my goodness.
So I can barely look at the footage. What the hell was that?
What was that?
Oh, a crow.
Oh,
Imagine if it shows a seal on her couch.
whoa. Wait a minute, wait a minute. Wait, did this guy have a kid? What is this?
Yeah, this kid died too, like, I don't know, before, a long time ago.
So first, Diana is terrified when a dead crow falls out of one of the cabinets, which seems odd as the man has only been deceased and out of the trailer for a few days. So how did the bird get there? But next, Diana sees a child's paintings on the refrigerator. Her dad tells her that the man had a horrible tragedy where his young daughter passed away many years ago at a very young age. But the man kept her drawings and mourned her for the rest of his life, descending into sorrow and alcoholism.
Aw, that's
so,
sad.
is this childlike shadow figure the man's daughter coming back to meet him as he passes to the other side? What do you think?
I'd like to think so, yeah.
Mirror, mirror. A woman who goes by the online
Like, it's
name
more
Pixie
comforting that
Paranormal
way.
1 is a psychic medium and paranormal investigator who has had quite a few strange experiences.
Pug.
Some that could be supernatural.
What is this noise? What is this noise?
And she has also experienced some scary incidents that are just a bit too real.
When the sun goes down.
Got a load of kids running around in here. Can you hear them all?
That ain't no kid.
That's a girl crying. Can you hear that, guys?
Yeah, we hear it.
Turn the lights
I
off.
am
Minute,
back.
guys. Turn these lights off. Turn these lights off. Hang on a minute, guys. We've got to turn these lights off. Turn the lights off. Turn that light off. Turn it off. I don't mind hunting ghosts, but it's the humans that worry me.
Oh,
Human
yeah,
beings freak me out.
definitely.
But recently, Pixie Paranormal 1 had a very chilling experience right in her own home.
Oh,
She
what's
heard
the
cracking
name of
sounds
this
coming from her
video?
mirror, so she
I
grabbed her
need
phone
these
and began to
sounds.
film. What happens next?
He'll probably
is
tell you the
truly
link
bizarre.
in a bit.
My mirror's cracking by itself.
What's happening? Wait. Wait, stop.
Harry?
What
My
face?
mirror
Up?
is cracking by itself.
It's cracked twice so far. Why is it cracking by itself?
No fucking idea.
There's too big.
Yeah, it's really fucking weird.
Alright, let's just carry on with it. Right, It's a bit.
Stay there, don't go near it.
This way. I know. Mum, I know. There's a naughty mirror. Wait.
Okay.
Why is the mirror cracking?
I don't know.
I know. Maybe the naughty 7.
The woman's mirror begins to break
Don't
and
say
crack
that,
all
kid.
on its own right before her eyes. Even weirder, what looks like a strange misshapen face seems to appear in the slowly shattering mirror.
Okay, that could
So
be
did one of the
pareidolia.
ghosts from Pixie's Paranormal Investigations follow her home? Or just what do you think is happening here?
Editing.
Gory videos.
Yeah, that too.
And now again, we end this video with clips that might seem a bit spooky at first, but nah. Case in point, some Dutch urbex explorers are checking out an abandoned old building, and they find something absolutely terrifying.
Herbix is fun until.
Who is watching the TV in the behind? Stop wasting my goddamn electricity.
Now, honestly,
What?
squatters in an abandoned
What did
house
he
are
see?
much more dangerous than ghosts. Also, did you notice that this guy's friend has on the same jacket?
I want to
the
know what
squatter
did
got?
he.
Truly bizarre. And
Yeah,
next
I
up,
think he
a
saw his
woman is
friend
chilled
around
to
the
her
corner and
core
freaked
as she
himself
wakes
out.
up to strange activity. Some
Ooh.
unseen force seems to
Yeah.
open and close the drawers in her bedroom.
Boo.
Ooh. What in the world? kitty. Yeah, I
But
figured it was a
then
cat.
it's just her cat stuck inside her wardrobe chest. Look, there's his little head peeking out. And finally,
That's what I
Pedro
figured it was probably a
sees
cat.
very strange shadow of what seems to be a person who is just not there.
That little stinker. If John Cena you not see him.
And then Pedro realizes that he just has weirdly designed chairs. Anyway, thank you for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe, please, if you want to be awesome. And hopefully, I'll see you back here next time.
Oh, entertaining as always.
I think he got scared of the chair.
Yeah.
Chair jump scare.
We can watch this. Maybe we'll call it.
Thanks for the video.
Decided as it should be.
Immortal Kombat.
Don't watch the ghost
I
car.
watched MK Annihilation.
This is
when I was
going
just
to
11
help
or
big
12
time
years
with
old.
my
I had
writing.
seen the first movie, and I was catching up on the
Good, I'm
sequel
glad.
about 2 years later when one of my friends told me he had a bootleg copy. At first, I thought he was joking, because I wasn't even aware Mortal
I
Kombat
hate this
2
movie.
had already released, and I'd been eagerly waiting
everybody
for it. When I
does.
finally watched it back in the day, I was pissed that Johnny Cage dies in the first few minutes, and then
Bro. Okay, so I got my mom to watch the first Mortal Kombat movie. You know, the 94 was when it came out or something, or 95. Yeah. I got her to watch that
Not
with
my
me.
boy.
Yeah. I got her to watch it with me, and she said, you know, it was alright. She's not usually into, like, martial arts type of films. That was my dad that was into those. But, she loved Johnny. She said
It
he
was
the
1995, I think.
Yeah, 95. She loved Johnny. I even got her to watch the first like animated Mortal Kombat movie that they made, and of course, same thing. She said Johnny was the best part. She loves Johnny. And then I told her the second one came out and it was god awful, and she just rolled her eyes like, God, why do they always get to ruin a good thing, you know?
What is it, cage match?
No, not Cage Match, the first one. Scorpion's Revenge. But yeah, and then I told her, first of all, the number one bad thing about it is within the first few minutes they kill off Johnny Cage. Her face dropped. And she said, what? And I said, yeah, I know. And she was like, why would they do that? He was the best part of the first one. And I was like, yeah, you can see why a lot of people were pissed. And I was like, and that was just the first of many things that pissed everybody off.
And I noticed the completely changed cast. I was loving all the fight scenes and everything, but somehow, even at that age, I felt like everything was watered down. At
No
one
Johnny
point, the
Cage
movie
F
felt
in
so
chat
good,
for Johnny
then again,
Cage.
the acting, choreography, and writing were pretty bad. And oh my gosh, the VFX. They were awful. But yes, I was still happy as a
Why
kid
was
to see
Shao
all the
Kahn
characters
so
doing
small
cool shit.
here?
Now that I've rewatched
Right.
it as an adult, I understand just how bad it really is, and that there's a story behind it. And that's where my research started. Beneath the surface, I discovered a fascinating web of production disasters.
The
creative
2023 was
conflicts,
the
and
best movie and the
behind-the-scenes drama that reveal why this
1995
sequel
movie.
became such a catastrophic failure. The 1997 film, which followed the
Bootleg
successful
Ghidorah.
original Mortal Kombat movie, was plagued by rushed production schedules, massive budget mismanagement, and creative decisions that even the franchise's creators have disavowed. From Olympic athletes playing iconic characters to unfinished special effects making it to theaters, these revelations paint a picture
And
of
in
a
the
production
Mortal
that was doomed
Kombat
from the
Annihilation,
start,
Shao
yet
Kahn is
somehow
not
managed
called
to
Shao
create a
Kahn.
cult following among fans who appreciate its unintentional comedy and over-the-top action sequences. Here are 15 facts that showcase how behind-the-scenes issues
He is just
reportedly
called
contributed
Khan.
to the film's downfall. The movie was literally released unfinished. Perhaps the most shocking revelation about Mortal Kombat Annihilation is that audiences never actually saw a completed film. Producer Lawrence Kasanoff revealed in interviews that New Line Cinema released what was essentially an unfinished work print to theaters. This explains the notoriously awful CGI effects, particularly the laughably bad final battle between Liu Kang
I
and
hate
Shao
this.
Kahn's animality forms. According to Kasanoff, honestly, the final movie that was released was not a completed project. The studio's apparent indifference to the quality of the
Oh, I think apparently this guy here is supposed to be Shinnok. Yeah.
effects work becomes understandable
And not
when viewed
forgot
through
the
this
fake
lens.
fighting.
They simply didn't care how bad the effects looked
That
as long
ain't
as they could
Shinnok.
meet their release date.
Exactly.
This unprecedented decision to release an
Where is the
incomplete film
amulet?
demonstrates the studio's
That's generic for
prioritization
God number
of financial deadlines over artistic
677.
integrity. The rushed post-production cycle meant that many sequences
Fire
that were written
asterisk.
for the film had to be reduced or cut entirely due to time constraints. Kasanoff
Who is
later
it, Raiden?
admitted that they should have insisted the studio wait at least 6 more months before launching into production, as the breakneck schedule resulted in truncated development and post-production cycles that required additional material to be filmed just to make the story coherent. The fact that a major Hollywood studio would release an unfinished product to theaters remains one of the most shocking aspects of the film's troubled production history. The budget was higher, but the money was completely wasted. Contrary to popular belief that Annihilation was a cheap cash grab, the sequel actually had a significantly higher budget than the original film.
Why'd they make him
$30
take off the
million
helmet?
compared to the first movie's $18 million. However, this additional funding was spectacularly mismanaged, with much of the money wasted on expensive location shooting across multiple countries, including the UK, Jordan, Thailand, and Israel. The production team shot at exotic locations like the abandoned copper mine Paris Mountain and the ancient city of Petra, only to cover
Good Lord,
these
really?
expensive backdrops with disgusting pink filters and low-quality skyboxes that made every location look samey,
The worst
cheap,
movie
and
was
tacky. The irony is
1997
particularly
sequel.
stark when considering that the original film's success came from its focused approach and efficient use of resources, primarily shooting in Thailand. Lawrence Kasanoff promised in a 1997 GamePro interview that the film would be bigger in scope and action than its predecessor, with more scenes set in Outworld's parallel universe. However, the ambitious scope became the film's downfall, as the production spread itself too thin across multiple locations without the proper time or resources to make effective use of these expensive settings. The end result was a film that looked worse than its predecessor, despite costing significantly more to produce.
Damn. At least we get to see our
Most
girl
of the
Shiva.
original cast refused to return. The massive
Yep.
recasting of Annihilation wasn't simply due to scheduling conflicts. It was largely the result of actors actively refusing to return after reading the script or
Hell
dealing
yeah.
with financial disputes. Lyndon Ashby, who played Johnny Cage in the original, was specifically asked to return, but turned down the role after reading the screenplay. This decision by one...
And I do believe that MK11 intro where he goes, page 25 or whatever page it was, Johnny Cage dies. Is someone high?
Shiva for Khan.
Yeah, Shiva for Khan. I'm pretty sure that was a reference to how Lyndon Ashby read the script, that how his character dies, and he was like, oh no, screw that. No thanks.
One of the
I'm
original
out.
film's most charismatic actors speaks volumes about the quality of the script and the production's direction. Christopher Lambert, who played the iconic Raiden,
It's pronounced Lambert.
was unavailable due to other commitments. But according to Kasanoff, in some cases, New Line didn't want to pay the actors what they wanted, or what they were contractually obligated for. The producer attempted to rationalize these massive cast changes by comparing them to the Batman film franchise's approach to recasting, stating, "Warner Brothers replaces Batman constantly, and it still works. I hate to say this, but it was all business and money." However, this comparison misses the crucial difference that Batman's identity is hidden behind a mask, while Mortal Kombat characters are defined by their distinctive personalities and the actors who portray them. The scope of the recasting was unprecedented for a sequel, with only...
Man, why did Robin Shou even agree to be in it? Or this lady here that played Katana? They agreed to come back. Why?
Robin Shou, Liu Kang, and Talisa Soto, Kitana, reprising their roles from the original film. This meant that audiences had to accept entirely new interpretations of beloved characters like Raiden, Sonya Blade, and Johnny Cage, fundamentally altering the continuity and chemistry that had made the first film successful. Johnny Cage's death was supposed to lead to a ghost comeback. One of the most controversial decisions in Annihilation was the brutal killing of Johnny Cage in the opening scene, which served as both a shock value moment and a way to write out Lyndon Ashby's character after he refused to return. Keith Cook, who was recast as Johnny Cage, recalled the experience with humour. "Yep, got my neck broke in record time. I told people when it came out to get your popcorn and Raisinets after the first 10 minutes, so you don't miss me." However, the original plan was far more ambitious than simply killing off the character for shock value. According to production notes, there were tentative plans to have Johnny Cage return later in the film as a ghost, which would have provided a supernatural element consistent with the Mortal Kombat universe's mystical themes. This
that would have been better than
comeback
nothing, I guess.
would have allowed the character to participate in the final battle while acknowledging his death, potentially providing both dramatic
NGL,
weight
that sounds
and fan
worse.
service. The
Yeah, I
fact
don't
that
know,
these
maybe.
ghost scenes were never filmed or were cut from the final version represents another example of the production's inability to follow through on its creative concepts. The decision to kill Johnny Cage without any payoff or resolution frustrated fans who expected more from one of the franchise's most popular characters. This missed opportunity.
Also, doesn't him just rushing up to attack Shao Kahn completely negate the lesson that he learned in the first movie about not rushing into a fight? There's also that point.
Opportunity demonstrates how the film's rushed production schedule prevented the exploration of more interesting narrative possibilities that could have elevated the material beyond its basic revenge plot. A third movie, Devastation, was fully planned with cast set. Perhaps the most surprising revelation is that despite Annihilation's eventual failure, producer Lawrence Kasanoff had already planned and cast a third film titled Mortal Kombat: Devastation. The proposed sequel had an impressive cast lineup that would have brought back several original actors. Christopher Lambert as Lord Raiden, Lyndon
Lambert.
Ashby as Johnny Cage, Robin Shou as Liu Kang, Chris
And how has
Casamassa
Johnny
as
come
Scorpion,
back?
Keith Cook as Sub-Zero, and Lynn Red Williams as Jax. Additionally, Talisa Soto and Sandra Hess were in talks to reprise their roles as Princess Kitana and Lieutenant Sonya Blade, respectively. The ambitious project even had a new villain cast, with Adoni Meropis set to play Quan Chi, expanding the
Well, at least
franchise's
he looks like
mythology
Quan Chi.
into the Netherrealm storylines that fans knew from the games. This casting choice showed that the producers were aware of the deeper lore within the Mortal Kombat universe and were attempting to explore more complex narratives. Pre-production for Devastation actually picked up again in the early 2000s, with both Shou and Ashby giving interviews confirming that the film was planning to go into production. However, the project was ultimately derailed by real-world events and legal complications. A planned filming location in Louisiana was impacted by Hurricane Katrina, and Kasanoff unsuccessfully sued to stop the sale of Midway Games and the Mortal Kombat license to Warner Brothers. These setbacks, combined with Annihilation's
Is
poor
goes
reception,
some like this
led to
page
Devastation
62
being
Johnny
shelved
Cage is
permanently.
someone
And
high.
the film rights
Yeah.
eventually went to Warner Brothers, who would release a
That's
reboot film
definitely
in
a reference.
2021. Nearly 2 decades later, the rushed production schedule was the primary culprit. Producer Lawrence Kasanoff has been remarkably candid about what went wrong with Annihilation, consistently pointing to the rushed production schedule as the primary factor in the film's failure.
I don't
In
get the
interviews
one
for
with the
book,
skull one.
Lights, Camera, Game Over, Kasanoff admitted that he should have insisted the studio wait at least 6 more months before launching into production. The breakneck schedule they opted for resulted in
Really? Breakneck schedule.
truncated development and post-production cycles that compromised every aspect of the film's quality. This rushed timeline had cascading effects throughout the production. It meant that there was no time for proper script development, leading to what co-writer Brent V. Friedman described as major cuts from the final screenplay due to budget limitations. The compressed schedule also meant that when problems arose during filming, there was no time for reshoots to resolve plot holes or improve scenes that weren't working. The pressure to meet the studio's release date forced the production team to accept substandard work rather than take the time needed to fix problems. Kasanoff's acknowledgement of these issues represents
It was between Neo and Sub-Zero. He said to Sub-Zero, Cao Lang, where did you get the scar? And Cao Lang tell you no, and Kano said me.
With proper development time. The tragedy is that this wisdom came too late to save Annihilation from becoming a cautionary tale about the dangers of prioritizing release schedules over creative quality. The rushed nature of the production explains many of the film's most criticized elements, from the
It
poor
was in
special effects
MK11.
to the incoherent plot structure. Olympic gold medalist Dana He played Melina. One of the most remarkable casting choices in Annihilation was Olympic gold medalist Dana He as Melina, the iconic Tarkatan clone character. He, who won gold in Taekwondo at the 1988 Summer Olympics in the women's lightweight division, brought legitimate
What is the way
martial arts
Joker from The
credentials to
Dark
role.
Knight
Her
died?
Olympic achievement represents the highest level of athletic accomplishment, making her casting a significant coup for a martial arts film seeking authenticity in its fight sequences. The casting becomes even more interesting when considering the character connections within the film's mythology. Dana He had previously worked as the stunt double for Kitana in the original Mortal Kombat movie. Since Melina is established in the game's lore as an evil clone copy of Kitana, having the same actress play both characters creates an unintentional narrative consistency that actually makes sense within the franchise's mythology. This connection suggests that the casting wasn't entirely random, but may have been a deliberate choice to emphasize the character relationship.
You say would.
Unfortunately, audiences never got to see
A lot of
Melina's
us would.
iconic fanged mouth in the film, as it was hidden by a pink face mask.
Sonic
similar
is
to her
making a
appearance in
new
the games.
video
This
about
decision
Milena.
robbed the film
Yes,
of one
I
of its
know.
most potentially
That's coming out
memorable
next week, I
visual
think he said.
moments, and wasted He's dramatic potential. However, her martial arts background undoubtedly contributed to the authenticity of her fight sequences, even if the character's most distinctive feature was obscured. He's participation represents the kind of high-level talent that Annihilation attracted, even if the final product didn't showcase these performers to their full potential. Paul W.S. Anderson refused to direct
Is
due
he going to
producer
back to
conflicts.
sucks
The
or not?
absence of
Doesn't
original
sucks.
director Paul W.S.
I think
Anderson
maybe
from
it doesn't
Annihilation
suck.
wasn't simply due to scheduling conflicts or other projects. It was the result of a deliberate decision to avoid working with producer Lawrence Kasanoff again. Anderson was specifically asked to return but declined, stating that he had accomplished everything he
I will
wanted
look
to
it.
with the first movie. However, he also admitted that part of his resistance in coming back for another movie was due to a tricky working relationship with Kasanoff. Anderson's diplomatic but pointed comments reveal the interpersonal tensions that plagued the production from its earliest stages. He acknowledged Kasanoff's vision in recognizing the potential for video game adaptations, saying, "I have a huge amount of respect for Kasanoff because he was the man who saw you could make a movie out
What
of Mortal
did you say
Kombat
before?
when no one else was thinking video games
Doesn't
were a good
suck.
idea to turn into films." However, he also revealed that Larry and I had a bit of a bumpy ride along the movie, but we made a great movie as a result of it. I just wasn't keen on going back for the same ride. The replacement of Anderson with cinematographer
Is
John
Mortal
R.
Kombat
Leonetti
sucks?
represented a significant change in creative vision for the franchise. Or while Leonetti had
I just
contributed
look
to
it
the
up.
visual success of the first film, and Anderson approved of his promotion, saying he was instrumental in the success of the first movie. The loss of the original director's cohesive vision likely contributed to Annihilation's tonal and structural problems. Anderson's decision to walk away from a successful franchise demonstrates the severity of the creative differences that would ultimately doom the sequel. Multiple fight scenes were drastically cut and shortened.
Oh,
the action
Baraka was
sequences
in
that
that
should have
scene.
been Annihilation's strongest elements were severely compromised by the production's various problems. Chris Casamassa, who played Scorpion, revealed in a 2019 interview that the planned fight sequence between Scorpion and Sub-Zero had originally been designed to be longer and more ambitious, but was shortened after his role was recast. This represents a significant loss, as the rivalry between these two iconic ninjas is one of the most beloved aspects of the Mortal Kombat mythology. The problems with the fight scenes weren't limited to recasting issues. J.J. Perry, who performed the complex task of playing both Cyrax and Scorpion, was injured during production when the cumbersome Cyrax mask inhibited his vision, causing him to roll his ankle on a power cable. This injury meant that Perry wasn't at his full physical potential for Scorpion's fight scene against Sub-Zero, further compromising what should have been one
I
of the
like the
film's highlight
Scorpion
sequences.
fight with
Additional
Johnny
fight
Cage and in
sequences
Mortal
were cut or
Kombat
modified throughout the production.
1995.
Deleted scenes reveal that Liu Kang was originally supposed to fight only
I will be
Baraka
feel
rather than
better.
a group of Tarkatan soldiers, and that Raiden's battle was scaled back from fighting multiple reptilian warriors to confronting only a single resurrected reptile. These changes suggest that the original script contained more intimate, character-focused fight scenes that were expanded with generic enemy hordes to pad the runtime, sacrificing the personal stakes that made the original film's battles compelling. The cumulative effect of these compromises was a film where even the action sequences, the genre's most essential element, felt rushed and
I
underdeveloped.
bet you get to
The
fight
movie
Shang
used
Tsung only
expensive
one in
locations,
MK9.
but ruined them with cheap effects. The production's approach to location shooting represents one of the most wasteful decisions in the film's troubled history. Despite shooting in exotic and expensive locations across multiple countries, including the ancient city of Petra in Jordan, abandoned copper mines in the UK, and various sites in Thailand and Israel, the final film made these locations look uniformly cheap and artificial. The production team applied what one critic described as disgusting pink filters and low-quality skyboxes over every scene, making each location appear
Man,
samey,
they really
cheap,
screwed
and
the
tacky.
pooch here.
This approach completely defeated the purpose of the expensive location shooting. Lawrence Kasanoff had promised in promotional interviews that the film would feature more scenes set within the parallel universe of Outworld, filmed in more exotic locations to create an otherworldly aesthetic. The goal was to make audiences feel they were experiencing genuinely
In Mortal
alien
Kombat 1
environments
that line
that
is
enhanced the
referenced.
fantasy elements of the story. Instead, the heavy-handed post-production effects work made every location look like a badly rendered video game cutscene. The irony is particularly striking when compared to the original film's more focused approach. The first Mortal Kombat achieved its otherworldly atmosphere primarily through clever use of Thai locations and practical effects, creating memorable environments on a much smaller budget. Annihilation's failure to effectively utilize its more expensive locations demonstrates how poor creative decisions can waste even the most substantial production resources. The lesson learned is that authentic atmosphere comes from creative vision and skillful execution, not from simply throwing money at exotic locations. Nightwolf's original design was completely different. One of the most interesting character design revelations involves Nightwolf, who was originally conceived in a radically different way than what appeared in the final film. According to the shooting script and movie novelization, Nightwolf
It will
was
happen
described
when
as
Omni
wearing
Man
a Stone
fights
Temple
Sindel
Pilots
and he
t-shirt
says to
and a pair of
Sindel he will
Oakley
keep her daughters as pets and she says for that you will died.
Oh, yeah. What was that? Oh, wait.
than what appeared in the final film. According to the shooting script and movie
What did
novelization,
THR
Nightwolf
guy
is
say?
described as wearing a Stone Temple Pilots t-shirt and a pair of Oakley sunglasses, which was ultimately abandoned in favor of his traditional in-game outfit. This original
thank goodness
concept
for
would
that.
have presented the character as a contemporary Native American rather than the mystical shaman archetype that
The
appeared in the
fuck?
final version.
Right?
The Stone Temple Pilots t-shirt detail is particularly fascinating as it represents an attempt attempt to modernize the character and ground him in 1990s pop culture. Stone Temple Pilots was one of the biggest rock bands of the era, and having Nightwolf wear their merchandise would have immediately established him as a contemporary figure rather than a stereotypical mystical native. Combined with Oakley
Did you know
sunglasses,
Reptile
a
is still
premium
in
brand associated
MK11?
with extreme sports and modern outdoor activities. This costume choice
Not
would have
that, my
suggested
boy.
a very different interpretation of the character. The decision to abandon this modern approach in favour of the traditional mystical shaman appearance reflects the production's uncertainty about how to balance contemporary relevance with fantasy elements. While the final costume choice was more consistent with the character's game appearance, the original concept might have been more interesting and less prone
Where
to
is his
cultural
mantle?
stereotyping. This change also represents another example
It
of
would
the
not have been
production's
interesting, it
inability
would have
to
been
commit to
bad.
its more creative instincts, instead defaulting to safer, more conventional choices that satisfied neither innovation nor authenticity. Michael Jai White was supposed to play Jax but got Spawn instead. The casting of Jax in Annihilation could have been dramatically different if not for the intervention
Really
of another
awful.
major comic book
Glad
film.
they
Michael
used
Jai
this
White
final
was originally
design.
scheduled to play Jax.
Yeah, I don't know what that guy was on about, but nobody would have been happy with that Stone Temple Pilots shirt shit, okay?
But ultimately chose to take the lead role in Spawn, 1997, instead. This decision had significant
I love the man
implications for
who
both
plays
films, as
Spawn.
White's imposing physical presence and martial arts skills would have been perfect for the cybernetically enhanced Special Forces officer. White's
Maybe one of these days we'll get Michael Jai White in this role. Maybe one of these days. We can only hope.
departure from Annihilation represents a sliding doors moment in video game movie history. His natural charisma and action credentials could have elevated the Jax character beyond the somewhat wooden performance that made it into the final film. The irony is that White would eventually get to play Jax in later Mortal Kombat productions,
Wait, he does?
appearing as the character in Mortal
And pray
Kombat
for it.
Rebirth 2010 and Mortal
Oh, I forgot about Rebirth. Oh, I haven't seen Rebirth, but I was aware of it.
Kombat Legacy 2011. These later performances demonstrated exactly
Legacy?
what Annihilation missed by losing him to Spawn.
Same
The
here,
timing
I
of White's
forgot about.
departure also highlights the competitive nature of genre filmmaking in the late 1990s. Both Mortal Kombat, Annihilation and Spawn were attempting to capitalize on the popularity of dark, violent comic book and video game properties. White's choice to go with Spawn suggests that he saw more potential in that project, possibly due to better creative teams or more substantial character development. While Spawn ultimately received mixed reviews, White's lead performance was generally praised, validating his decision to leave Annihilation for what he perceived as a better opportunity. The film's failure killed the franchise for over 2 decades. The commercial and critical disaster of Mortal Kombat Annihilation had consequences that
Are
extended
you going
far
to
beyond
play
its
the video
initial
game
release.
when the
film's
Legacy
poor
game
reception
come out?
effectively killed the Mortal Kombat movie
I don't know.
franchise for over 20 years, with the next theatrical release not arriving until 2021. This represents one of the longest dormant periods for any major gaming franchise in Hollywood history.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, some people are probably gonna hate me for this, but the 2021 one wasn't really that good either. It was better. Not that good though.
Where is Shao Kahn small and not big?
Yeah.
Based.
But I am excited for the sequel that's coming out because you know, Johnny Cage is apparently, I think he's going to be the main star. I hope so. But I am going to definitely going to watch the second one for Johnny Cage.
Demonstrating the lasting damage
I
that a
honestly
single
never
bad
watched
sequel
any of
can
them
inflict on a
except
property's
these first
commercial
two.
viability. The numbers
I
tell the
don't
story
hate
of the
you.
franchise's
I'm
decline.
glad for that.
While the original Mortal Kombat was a surprising box office success, Annihilation grossed only $51.3 million worldwide against its $30 million budget, representing a significant drop in audience interest.
Heard
More
Cole gonna
importantly,
play
the
back
critical
lesser role.
reception was so universally
Good.
negative
Nobody
that it
liked
scared
Cole.
away potential investors and studios. studios from attempting another adaptation for decades. The film holds a dismal rating on most review aggregation sites and is frequently cited as one of the worst video game adaptations ever made. This extended hiatus meant that an entire generation of Mortal Kombat fans grew up without seeing their favourite characters on the big screen. The gaming franchise continued to evolve and expand during this period, introducing new characters, storylines, and gameplay mechanics that never had the chance to be adapted cinematically. When Warner Brothers finally greenlit a new Mortal Kombat film in 2021, it had to essentially start from scratch, rebuilding audience confidence in the property's cinematic potential. The two-decade gap serves as a cautionary tale about how quickly a successful franchise can be derailed by a single poorly executed sequel. Even the director and original star expressed regret. The legacy of Mortal Kombat. Annihilation became even more tarnished when key figures associated with the franchise publicly expressed their disappointment with the sequel. During a 20th anniversary Q&A for the original movie, Robin Shou, Liu Kang, and director Paul W.S. Anderson both expressed their dislike for Annihilation. This public criticism from the franchise's own star
Johnny is
and
going to the
original
main
director
character
represents
for
an
Mortal
unprecedented
Kombat
level
2.
of disavowal
Good.
for a
And
major
now
studio
you
sequel.
will die.
Shu's criticism is particularly significant because he was one of only 2 actors to reprise their roles from the original film, making him a bridge
out
between
there.
the 2 movies. His willingness to publicly criticize the sequel suggests that the problems with Annihilation were so severe that even professional courtesy couldn't prevent him from expressing his disappointment. As the character of Liu Kang, Shou was essentially the face of the Mortal Kombat film franchise, making his negative comments especially damaging to the sequel's reputation. Anderson's criticism carries additional weight because of his success with the original film and
Bro
his
said I'm not
continued
gonna
work in video
sugarcoat
game
it. It was
adaptations,
shit.
including the Resident Evil franchise. His experience with both successful and unsuccessful video game movies gives
You
his
want to
opinion
know what
particular
I have done
credibility.
for the
fact
Mortal
that both the
Kombat
original
movies.
director and returning star felt compelled to publicly distance themselves from Annihilation demonstrates just how far the sequel fell short of the standards established by the original film. This level of public rejection by key franchise figures is extremely rare in Hollywood and contributed to the sequel's reputation as a complete creative failure. Confusing lore.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say about Raiden. Look how they massacred my boy.
Muddled rules and undeveloped characters.
Just
Mortal
the old
Kombat
games
has a
as
rich
the movies.
and, at times,
Yeah.
complex mythology. The first film managed to simplify this for a cinematic audience reasonably well. Annihilation, however, dived headfirst into the more convoluted aspects of the lore from Mortal Kombat 3, including realm-merging, elder gods, and a plethora of new characters, but often failed to explain these elements coherently. The
What
rules of
happened
Mortal
to my bro
Kombat,
Raiden?
previously centered
Yeah,
around
they
the
messed him
tournament,
up.
became vague and inconsistent. For example, Raiden seeks guidance from the Elder Gods, who provide conflicting advice on how to stop Shao Kahn. One suggests reuniting Kitana with Sindel, while another implies defeating Shao Kahn in combat is the only way. This left audiences and even the characters themselves seemingly confused about their objectives. The film's attempt to introduce
He
so
is
many
not
game
the
characters resulted in
1995
most of them
Raiden.
being little more than cameos with cool costumes, but no personality or backstory. Characters like Nightwolf, Ermac, Jade, and Rain appear briefly, often just for a single fight, and then vanish or
You
are
Shao
quickly
Kahn
dispatched.
with hair.
This made it difficult for viewers to care about their fates or understand their significance in the larger conflict. The film felt like a checklist of game characters rather than a well-structured narrative, sacrificing clarity and character development for fan service that ultimately fell flat due to poor execution. The game creators reported
I like the
disdain for the film. Perhaps one
1995
of the most
Raiden.
damning indictments
Yeah.
of Mortal Kombat Annihilation comes from the very creators of the video game franchise. According to trivia on IMDb, in separate 2012 interviews, Mortal Kombat co-creators Ed Boon and John Tobias revealed they hated the film so much they considered it the absolute worst experience in all the years they'd spent working on the Mortal Kombat franchise. This is a powerful
Damn.
statement from the individuals who can see conceived and developed the universe and characters Annihilation attempted to portray. Their profound dissatisfaction
Damn.
speaks volumes about how far the film strayed from their vision and the spirit of the games. While filmmakers often take creative liberties when adapting source material, to alienate the original creators to such an extent suggests a fundamental misunderstanding or disregard for what made Mortal Kombat popular in the first place. The studio released an unfinished work print due to misguided test screening optimism. Perhaps the most damning revelation about Mortal Kombat Annihilation's failure comes from industry insiders who confirmed the film audiences saw was never intended to be the final product. Screamcast podcast host Brad Henderson revealed after interviews with director John R. Leonetti and crew members that New Line Cinema released an unfinished work print version of the film. During the screening, it was told that all the VFX they are seeing will be improved before the movie release, and the test screening critics and fans kept that in mind and gave shockingly positive test screening reactions.
You know Raiden
Studio
tell evil
executives
Liu Kang he
interpreted
don't
early
see the
audience
future
enthusiasm
about
as
the visions.
validation to bypass completing visual effects.
I'm sorry, every time they show that transformation scene for Shao Kahn, it's so silly looking. It's so goofy looking, man.
And proper editing. Kasanoff lamented, "I never anticipated that someone would take the movie and go, it's good enough." This reckless cost-cutting measure created a paradox where the very fans they aimed to please became repelled
It's
by the
kind of
unfinished
vulgar
product's
for me.
technical failures. The studio's short-sightedness ignored basic filmmaking principles. Test screenings typically assess narrative resonance, not technical polish. By misapplying this feedback, New Line created a cinematic anomaly, a major
It looks
studio
like a
release
bunch
where
of
key
floppy
sequences
schmeats.
resembled video game cutscenes from the previous console
But what would
generation.
happen
This
if the
revelation
visions was in
recontextualizes
MK11
every
and Mortal
technical flaw in the
Kombat
film.
1?
The rushed production schedule, already compressed to capitalize on the first film's success, became catastrophic when combined with the studio's refusal to fund post-production. Kasanoff admitted, "I should have insisted that we wait All Saints 6 months later. We could have had a much better movie." The fallout was immediate. Critics savaged the effects, with Roger Ebert noting, "The CGI creatures look like they escaped from a PlayStation demo disc." And I think we gave you enough reason to finally understand what really went wrong. As audiences continue discovering Annihilation through streaming platforms, its unintentional comedy and behind-the-scenes drama ensure it will remain a cult curiosity. Damn, my 11-year-old mind really enjoyed that movie. Is intelligence ruining our experience of fun? That's a food for thought for you. This brings us to the end of our video.
Least
Hope you
Motoro
guys
looks
liked what you
okay.
see here, and if you
Yeah.
liked it,
Would it
drop a
make
subs
young
for us,
Raiden
and we
become
will
Dark
catch you in the
Raiden?
next one. Take care and be marvelous.
Alright. I think we're gonna call that. We've been going for almost 2.5 hours. So, well, guys, hope you had fun on this Saturday chill stream. Yeah, tomorrow we will do Spooky
If
Sunday.
he did have the visions of Dark Raiden.
I don't know. So yeah.
Come back for Sunday.
Yes. The links to my YouTube and my Discord will be on
This
my
is
Twitch
awesome.
page.
Great stream.
Thank you.
Raid
Seal
out.
Man. Yeah, one sec. Let's see if there's anybody to raid. But yeah. So go to those links. Please join us. There's also a donation option that is not necessary, but it is appreciated. Did I tell you guys I'm qualified for a Twitch affiliate? That's awesome. We'll get that going soon. But yeah, let's see if we can read anybody. Who's live?
No, you didn't do tell. Let's go get that money.
Yeah. Oh, Merc's live. Let's go raid Merc. Alright. Slash breed.
/raid UBCS mercenary.
What the hell? Why didn't it...
What do we say to him?
Hang on, it didn't do the raid. What the fuck? Why didn't it do the raid? I spelled it right, didn't I? I know I spelled that right.
You did right is right.
There it goes. It worked that time. Okay. We'll tell him.
Too bad you will die.
Let's tell him that. Alright, so copy and paste that to his thing. So yeah, I love you guys, and I will see y'all tomorrow for Spooky Sunday. Love y'all, bye.
Bye.